Pokémon. Starting with Greninja, this video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, Returning to Fengcheng. The Great Devil is released. Zumu, I'll leave the little Snorlax to you from now on. Utizu smiled and handed a Pokeball to Zumu. Now this is Fengcheng. After Utizu led the Liu family to complete a series of harvests on the Chen family, they returned to their old nest. In Fengcheng, they are the local emperors of one side, and they can safely digest the unexpected gains brought by Zumu. Money or not is a small matter. The main thing is resources. The various resources controlled by the Chen family are now controlled by Utizu, and the country has changed hands and the dynasty has changed. Thank you, Uncle Liu. Zumu politely took the Pokeball, and the little Snorlax with the king's qualifications get. Utizu quickly responded, no, thank you this time. Zumu's contribution is obvious. If there was no Zumu at this party, Utizu and the Liu family would never have gained so much. Now Zumu has no mood to be polite. All his thoughts are on his little Snorlax, as his ace Pokémon in the game. Zumu's obsession with Snorlax is still very deep. Now that he has the chance to get a little Snorlax with the talent of a king, Zumu is naturally eager for it. He hurriedly returned home, greeted his mother, and went to his room as soon as possible. Come out, little Snorlax. With a call, the little Snorlax jumped out of the Pokeball. Karu, who are you? Looking at the unfamiliar environment and the strangers in front of him, the little Snorlax was a little confused. Zumu showed his best super friendly smile and slowly said, hello, little Snorlax, my name is Zumu, and I will be your trainer in the future. Obviously, although the little Snorlax was born not long ago, he should have received a good basic education in the Liu family. Not only did he not resist Zumu, but he showed kindness after hearing the 3 words trainer. According to what his mother Snorlax told him, after the Pokémon finds a trainer, there will be countless delicious food. So, at this moment, the little Snorlax is very excited, even a little excited. Finally, after waiting for so long, I finally got a long-term meal ticket. With a sly look in his eyes, Snorlax stretched out his hands in a cute and naive manner, asking Zumu to hug him. Zumu swallowed his saliva with some worry. Snorlax wants a hug? He is not Liu Xiao, the fat man who is heavier than Snorlax. If he hugs him, Zumu is worried that he will not be able to straighten his back for the next month. But in the expectant eyes of Snorlax, Zumu made up his mind and rushed forward with gritted teeth. Isn't it the job of a trainer to face challenges, difficult on top of difficult? Just do it. The worst that can happen is that you have to walk with your waist supported for a month. What's the big deal? If Snorlax is sad, then Zumu can't get it back no matter how many months he has to walk with his waist supported. Shouldering the responsibility of a trainer, Zumu rushed forward. In one step, Zumu bent down and came in front of Snorlax, then with a move of old tree roots, he wrapped his arms around Snorlax's waist and began to exert force. Lusician uproots a weeping willow, silently praying to the bald elder brother to give him strength. Zumu used all his strength and finally picked up the little Snorlax. Seeing that the little Snorlax's feet were less than 15 centimeters from the ground, Zumu said that he really tried his best. If he continued, Zumu was worried that he would be paralyzed on one side of his body and have a high amputation. The bones all over his body made a crisp sound, and Zumu said that he must make the little Snorlax happy. Seeing that he was picked up by Zumu, the little Snorlax really smiled happily. The little guy was very simple and didn't have too many thoughts. Zumu hugged him to show that he liked him. Since Zumu liked him, he would also like Zumu as a trainer. Karu, Zumu is awesome. I will have my own trainer in the future. After landing, the little Snorlax shook his hands and cheered. Unconsciously, Zumu found that the little Snorlax's fingers were actually shining with a strange light. The light soon turned into a ball of golden flames and attacked Zumu. Without time to think, Zumu was frightened by the attack of Snorlax and almost died on the spot. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Greninja appeared from the Pokeball and blocked the explosive flames used by Snorlax. Cool. Little guy, be careful. Feeling that Zumu was in danger, Greninja appeared and said while blocking in front of Zumu. Snorlax lowered his head in shame. He didn't mean to do it just now. He was just too happy and didn't control the burst of power in his body, so he couldn't help but use the finger swing. He didn't mean to hurt Zumu at all. This is his long-term meal ticket in the future. If Zumu was hurt, Snorlax would be very distressed. It's okay. This little guy didn't mean it. Greninja, don't take it too seriously. Zumu, who escaped from death, was moved to see Greninja come out to save his life at the critical moment. Fortunately, I didn't stop Greninja from appearing from the Pokeball frequently, otherwise it would be dangerous today. Cool, okay, the little master has spoken, you should be careful next time. Greninja didn't act aggressively, he just warned Snorlax seriously and put on a big brother's face. Cool, welcome to our big family. I am the biggest one here besides the little master. If you have any questions in the future, you can come to me. My name is Greninja. After explaining it seriously, Greninja stood up and touched Snorlax's head. Zumu looked at the exchange between the two Pokémon with a gentle look, and a trace of warmth emerged in his heart. This really feels like home. By the way, now that I have made money this time, I should also consider buying a big house for my mother. Looking at the small room, Charizard couldn't stand up straight and stretch his wings in the house before, for fear of damaging the facilities in the house. Now that he has money, the matter of changing houses should be put on the agenda. Even if Mom doesn't want it, the elves need it. The phone rang suddenly, interrupting Zumu's thoughts. Hello, father-in-law, is there anything going on? Seeing that it was Kyle calling, Zumu asked with a smile, who is your father-in-law? Kid, don't yell. I have good news for you. We have already reached an agreement on the issue of Little Lugia and Meteor Falls. You only need to give the Alliance a growth report on Lugia every year to let the Alliance know that Lugia is growing healthily, that's all. As for the rest, you don't have to think about it. It has nothing to do with you. What you have to do next is to participate in the King Challenge for me. Chapter 102. The Great Devil Appears. When Zumu heard the news that he was released from the ban, he was instantly overjoyed. Great, I can finally move freely. After more than a week of school, he was completely dumbfounded. Whether he was tired or not is another matter. The main thing is that he was forced to take the original courses again as an adult, which was really hard to endure. Moreover, whether it was the collection of Arceus's slate or the collection of badges in the King Challenge, Zumu needed to leave Fengcheng. If he had to go to school to keep a low profile like now, it would definitely delay many things. Now it's good, the ban is over. I, Zumu, am back. Ha 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 ha. The little cuties in the secret realm tremble. I, the great devil Zumu, the destroyer of the secret realm, is finally going to come out. My god, why is the school spending so much this month? Is it over the limit? After the old principal returned to number 1 middle school, he checked the accounts as soon as possible. Then, he was dumbfounded, just speechless. What the hell is going on? The school's expenditure this month is more than 10 times that of last month. Principal, this is mainly used to repair the gravity simulation room of the college. Yuhei Long knew that the old principal was stingy, and explained tremblingly. This was all broken by Zumu. He said that you instructed him to do it casually, so we can only carry out repairs temporarily and restore the normal operation of the gravity room as soon as possible. Yuhei Long's words let the old principal know the culprit of the excessive account expenditure. It was Zumu. Forget it. Knowing the truth of the matter, the old principal sighed helplessly. This kid, you can't mess with him. It seems that he can only admit that he is unlucky. The school has to save money recently, and the bonuses of teachers will be delayed for half a year. The old principal didn't mean anything else. When the school is poor, the teachers have to be poor with it. Only by sharing the joys and sorrows can we share the wealth. As he said, he looked at Yuhei Long with deep eyes. Yes, yours too. The bonuses of the school leaders will also be cancelled. All cancelled. Yuhei Long had expected it in his heart, and he was not too excited about the cancellation of the bonus. It was not a big problem. It was only half a year. At first, he thought that his bonus for the whole year would be gone. Okay, principal, then Zumu, Yuhei Long asked hesitantly, How should he deal with Zumu's destruction of the gravity training room? The old principal shook his head repeatedly. What's wrong with Zumu? The simulation room is broken, and our students are lucky to be fine. Zumu is lucky and has a good life. There was no accident, otherwise we wouldn't have enough heads to lose. But, fortunately, this little enemy is finally gone. Otherwise my old bones really can't stand it. After saying that, the old principal returned to his office and continued to feel sorry for his little money. Zumu, the big devil, the troublemaker, finally left. If he really studied in number 1 middle school, the old principal was worried that his little heart would not be able to bear it one day. This system is updated really fast. Zumu saw that he had just obtained the recognition of Little Snorlax, and the system displayed Little Snorlax's information and sign-in tasks. And he couldn't help but sigh. This dog system really arranged the next step for me. Pokémon, Snorlax, attribute, normal, strength, newborn Pokémon, not capable of fighting for the time being, feature, thick fat, immune to some damage when attacked by fire and ice skills, wave missile, collision, finger shaking. Sign-in task, 1, bring or use Snorlax to participate in a glutton competition. Increase intimacy to the maximum value. 2. Bring or use Snorlax to participate in a street fight in Fengcheng, Tati Bloodline. 3. Bring or use Snorlax to participate in a fight in the Northern 5 Provinces Rookie King League, full-level martial arts, Tai Kai. After viewing Snorlax's attribute panel, Zumu was speechless. Street fights were easy to say, it was just bullying. Zumu was shameless, he could do that. And the Northern 5 Provinces Rookie King League was about to be held in Chuncheng. Zumu had originally planned to go to Chuncheng to take a look and challenge the gym by the way. This was also on the way. However, what the hell is this Big Stomach King competition? Zumu said that he had never heard of or seen Fengcheng holding similar related events in recent years, right? At least in Fengcheng, this kind of entertainment event cannot be held too well. After all, it is a small city with limited income. Over time, small entertainment events such as Big Stomach Kings have disappeared in Fengcheng. It has been more than 10 years since the last time such entertainment events were held. In fact, there is no road in the world. When more people walk, it becomes a road. This famous saying of Mr. Zhu was reasonably quoted by Zumu at this time. Since Fengcheng doesn't have one, Zumu is going to hold one himself. What a big deal. Isn't it just a Big Stomach King competition? Preparing to eat and drink. Money is something, just spend it. Besides, the core of the Liu family is now in Fengcheng. If Zumu wants to hold this competition, he just needs to tell them. There is no need for so much nonsense. If there are no guns or cannons, Zumu will make them for himself. The dog system wants Snorlax to sign in at the Big Stomach King competition, so just hold a competition yourself. Haha. Dog system, you want to stump me, you think too simply. Zumu snorted lightly, and just decided that after the Big Eater competition, the little Snorlax could find a roadside trainer to have a street fight. Just think of it as a way for the little guy to digest food. This is simply perfect. The plan in his mind gradually took shape, and Zumu raised the corners of his mouth with satisfaction. What a big deal. Do it as soon as you say it. Although he has said goodbye to Zumu, it does not mean that he will leave Fengcheng now. A phone call called Liu Xiao, and Zumu told him about the Big Eater competition. Liu Xiao immediately said that it was no problem, and his father and the Liu family would definitely support it with all their strength. The investment in this competition is all borne by the Liu family. Boss, don't worry, although I don't understand what you mean by holding this competition, as long as it is something you want to do. Our Liu family will definitely support it with all our strength. Isn't it just a Big Eater competition? We will prepare everything for you within 3 days. Liu Xiao patted Zumu's arm and said with a big package. Now Zumu is the guest of honor of the Liu family. If Zumu agrees, Utizu wants to make a tablet for Zumu. Now Zumu has a request. Let alone a Big Eater competition. Even if there are 10 Liu teases, they will definitely make every effort to arrange it. After sending Liu Xiao away, Zumu came to the Huai training hall. He also realized the shortcomings of his elves in this gym battle. It happened that the Yu family needed 3 days to prepare for the competition, so he took this opportunity to conduct targeted strengthening and improvement training for the elves. Chapter 103 Long-Term Meal Ticket Zoomu, you should slowly adapt to the double gravity. When you can move freely, we will proceed to the next step. Returning to the Hawaii training hall, Yang Qianqian looked at Zoomu curiously. Where have you been these days? Why didn't you come to train? This is not your style. Walking forward, Yang Qianqian asked. Seeing that the beautiful teacher took the initiative to care about him, Zoomu smiled and explained, well, I went to a friend's party and went out of town. Okay then. Seeing that Zoomu was fine, Yang Qianqian did not ask any more questions. After thinking for a while, she said, play a few games with me when you are free. I feel like I am about to make a breakthrough recently. Hearing this, Zoomu nodded and said, okay, it's a small matter. Yang Qianqian asked herself to be a sparring partner. On the surface, Yang Qianqian got the benefit, but in fact, Zoomu also did not lose. There is nothing wrong with the saying that practice makes perfect. Only through fighting can we find the problem of the elves, so as not to train all day without knowing the improvement of strength. It just so happens that I will be in seclusion in the training hall for the next 3 days. Come find me when you are free. After saying that, Zoomu prepared to return to the gravity training room to let the elves complete the training that had not been completed before. Huh? Then you are not going to school? Yang Qianqian was stunned. When she heard Zoomu say that he would stay here for seclusion, she asked in confusion. Zoomu spread his hands. Is school a compulsory course for me? Yang Qianqian thought of Zoom's strength and his age, and her lips that were about to open closed again. There is nothing to say. It really doesn't matter whether Zoomu goes to school or not. This kid is a freak. Even if he doesn't have good grades in cultural subjects, all major colleges will probably compete for him based on his strength. Okay, then when you train your elves, pay attention to rest and don't be too tired. Otherwise it will be bad to get half the result with twice the effort. After giving instructions, Yang Qianqian left the training hall. As for the battle with Zoomu, there is no rush now. There is plenty of time, and there is no need to rush. Her elves have just finished training, and it is obviously not reasonable to fight now. After Yang Qianqian left, Zoomu entered the training room alone and released his 6 elves. Charizard, Greninja, Dragonite, you 3 can now withstand 10 times the gravity. What you need to do next is to take advantage of these 3 days to challenge 20 times the gravity. These 3 guys had been staying in the training hall to train themselves, and they were already very adaptable to the gravity room, so Zoomu's training goal was not too difficult for them. Cool, got it? Little master, I will definitely train hard, Greninja responded with full enthusiasm, leaving Zoomu speechless. This guy's second-year disease would probably cost a lot of money to treat. I'm afraid it won't be cured even if you spend money. Then Arceus and Lugia, what you need to do is to adapt to 10 times the gravity. This requirement is not high. You two can do it if you work hard. Lugia and Arceus nodded when they heard this. Although they didn't train much, there is something called talent. As 2 little guys of mythical beasts, they naturally have advantages that other elves don't have. For the 2 little guys who are still in the growth stage, the basic training of adapting to gravity is like playing a game, so 10 times the gravity is not a big problem. Zoomu is still very confident in them. Finally, there is little Snorlax. After taming this little guy, Zoomu has not formally talked to him, and he doesn't know what the little guy thinks about fighting. If he is just an ordinary Pokémon and is not so interested in fighting, Zoomu will not force it. Just like humans, everyone has their own aspirations. Pokémon are also independent individuals, and they naturally have their own thoughts. Although Zoomu is his trainer, there is still no reason to choose the life that little Snorlax likes for him. Therefore, before the training begins, Zoomu and little Snorlax should have a formal communication. Little Snorlax, let me ask you, do you want to become stronger? After releasing this little guy, Zoomu asked. Little Snorlax looked at the unfamiliar environment around him blankly, and looked at Zoomu in confusion. Biting his finger and thinking for a long time, he slowly said, Gru, if you become stronger, can you do whatever you want and eat whatever you want? His question caught Zoomu off guard. Do whatever you want? Eat whatever you want. This is getting stronger, not having a terminal illness, right? According to your idea, the powerful Pokémon will not live long. No, what you do and what you eat are not based on your strength. Even if you are a weak Pokémon, I will not abandon you. Zumu tried his best to communicate with Snorlax in a gentle tone, not wanting his emotions to interfere with the little guy's choice. Snorlax was still biting his fingers and thinking, as if he wanted to know if there was any credibility in Zumu's words. Zumu is my trainer. If I become stronger, Zumu will become stronger. Then Zumu will give me better food, and no one can make me leave Zumu's side. Speaking sullenly, Snorlax suddenly raised his head and looked at Zumu. There was a little cunning in his eyes, but more of it was sincerity. When saying this, Snorlax was definitely not playing tricks, but the little guy originally thought so. Zumu is a trainer and will not interfere with what he wants to do. In this case, the only thing Snorlax needs to think about is eating. If you want to eat well, Zumu naturally needs to be rich and can buy whatever he wants. The first prerequisite for being rich, and the only prerequisite that Snorlax can help Zumu, is strength. Although he was born not long ago, he still sees things very clearly. In order to extend the shelf life of Zumu's long-term meal ticket, Snorlax decided decisively that he would become stronger, strong enough to help Zumu accomplish anything he wants to do. In this way, Snorlax himself can eat anything he wants to eat. The logic is simple, but it makes sense. Zumu pinched his chin and shook his head with a wry smile. It seems that the little guy has figured it out. In this case, let's get started. Then let's get stronger together, Snorlax. As he said, Zumu opened a corner of the training room and adjusted its gravity to twice. Got it, Zumu? I will train hard and work hard to become stronger. 1, 2, 3, 4, for food. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not afraid of anything. Shouting the family slogan, Snorlax strode into the gravity range marked by Zumu. Chapter 104, The Real Big Eater. Let's not talk about the preparations of the Yu family. Zumu said he would go into seclusion, and he went into special training for 3 days in the Hawaii training hall. During this period, Yankiankian, as an NPC providing experience, also took the initiative to give Zumu experience. Secretly, Zumu prefers to call this beautiful teacher, Experience Baby. It must be said that Zumu has gathered 6 elves at the moment, although 3 of them are newborns. This does not mean that Zumu's strength is not as good as those serious top trainers. On the contrary, when all members fight, Zumu, a new trainer, has defeated Yankiankian more than once. Except for Snorlax, Zumu's remaining 5 elves can each play the strength of 1 against 2 under the tactical system specially created by Zumu. Being invincible at the same level may seem like a dream to others, but here in Zumu, the blessing of his trainer can make the elves do this. Without bragging, Zumu really dares to say now, I am invincible at the same level. If you don't accept it, come and fight. To put it bluntly, the eating contest is just a small game for entertainment. Utizu was worried that Zumu would find it troublesome, so he specially decided to hold the contest at the Hawaii training hall. 3 days later, Zumu woke up from the guest room of Hawaii, packed himself up, had a free breakfast, and then came to the door of the training hall. The host was a third-tier actor hired by the Yu family at a high price, which was enough to show how much they valued this entertainment contest. Today's contestants, regardless of winning or losing, can let the elves enjoy a week of free training experience at the Hawaii training hall. So, let's start this exciting eating contest now. The host's excited and passionate voice directly raised the expectations of the audience. Although it is an entertainment contest, it is still a contest after all. There are winners and losers in a contest. Even if the contestants are just neighbors near their homes, everyone is very interested. This may be the happiness of a small city. There is no such luxury, nor such charming eyes. It is just simple and plain. Little Snorlax, this is your first time competing. Don't be nervous and eat as much as you can. Arceus, you too, come on. Zumu encouraged his 2 participating Pokémon. Little Snorlax participated in the competition as a system task, but Arceus came here purely to eat. If he missed such a good opportunity to eat, he would probably be angry with Zumu for a while. Zumu dared not leave this little glutton behind. Kalu, don't worry, Zumu, I can eat a lot, little Snorlax said with a smile, with a confident look on his face, as if he had already won. On the other hand, Arceus had a calm face, moving his body without desire, and warming up before the game. The biting dog did not bark, but just silently gathered strength. Seeing that Arceus did not speak, little Snorlax even stepped forward and patted him on the shoulder in a friendly manner. Kalu, don't be nervous, brother, the first place must be ours. I can eat a lot. Arceus looked at his little brother in surprise, feeling a little puzzled. You can eat a lot. Isn't it a coincidence that I can eat a lot too? Okay. Without rejecting Snorlax's kindness, Arceus smiled shyly. Seeing that Arceus didn't seem to be so nervous, Snorlax was relieved. He walked towards the temporary arena built by the Liu family with square steps and swaggered. He was determined to win the championship this time. The game begins. With the host's order, the participating elves looked at the mountain of elf food in front of them and started eating. The contestants this time don't look at their strength, but only at their appetite. First of all, contestant number 1 is a bean sprout from a trainer in the north of the city. This little bean sprout usually has an amazing appetite at home. It is said that he can eat hundreds of kilograms of elf food in one meal. He is also the contestant who looks the most contrasting in this competition. At present, he is using his amazing mouth parts to swallow piles of food at an extremely amazing rate. The second contestant is Dust Mountain. This huge Pokémon is also a frequent visitor to the Big Eater contest. There is no need to say much about his appetite. Trainers who have had him know him well. The third contestant is Muddy Smelly. There is no need to say much about his appetite. He can be regarded as a role model of the food world. As soon as the contest started, he swallowed the mountain of food in front of him with his body, and then slowly began to digest it, preparing to swallow the second pile. What is terrifying is not Muddy Smelly's swallowing ability, but his digestion ability. His mountain-like body began to shrink at a speed visible to the naked eye, and it was obvious that he was rapidly digesting the Pokémon food in his stomach. The fourth contestant is Devourer. This guy is even more famous in the Pokémon field. When it comes to eating skills, the Devourer clan says that they are second, and I am afraid that few Pokémon dare to claim to be the first. As expected, no matter how good the previous 3 contestants are at eating, they seem to be a little bit behind this Devourer. At this time, the 4th contestant has eaten 3 small mountains of food and is setting his sights on the 4th small mountain. The 5th contestant is Zumu's Snorlax. The little guy walked onto the ring confidently, and then what greeted him was endless despair. What the hell is this? Are you all gluttons? Can the trainer afford to support you with such a large appetite? At this moment, the little Snorlax felt like a clown. His previous confidence was swept away, and the whole Pokémon looked at the mountain of Pokémon food in front of him in a closed manner. I don't know why this delicacy suddenly lost its fragrance. He looked at the contestant number 6 beside him, Arceus, who was nervous before the game and needed comfort. The little Snorlax was closed on the spot. I saw Arceus was calmly holding the Pokémon food in front of him, swallowing it crazily with his gluttonous mouth. His stomach is the real bottomless pit. The mountain of food is just a drizzle in Arceus' eyes. These foods with low energy content are just side dishes in his eyes, and he will eat as much as he wants. It is no exaggeration to say that Arceus has an average appetite now. If he is really hungry, this guy can eat 100 such hills. Don't be curious about the body structure of a creator god. He is really different. Arceus, are all your family members so good at eating? Thinking of his childish behavior before, Snorlax couldn't help but blush and asked. Arceus was a little confused when he heard it, but he still stopped eating and answered, my family member is Zumu. He can't eat, but I can eat enough. I will help him finish his share. Chapter 105 Evolution. Snorlax. Finally, under the astonished gaze of the audience, Arceus successfully defeated Devourer with his appetite and won the championship of this glutton competition. Snorlax looked at Arceus in autism with a strange expression. To be honest, this guy doesn't look like he can eat. Thinking of his previous appearance of taking on too much, Snorlax was really ashamed. He was extremely ashamed. Arceus, are you full after this meal? The food was provided by the Liu family. Zoomu didn't have to spend his own money, and there was a bonus to be won, so he was naturally happy to have some free time. Placing the big trophy on Arceus' back, Zoomu asked with a smile, half full, "My opponent is not good." Arceus said these heartbreaking words happily. His behavior was exactly the same as his trainer Zoomu. It was too much. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the Snorlax sign-in task. 1. Bring or use Snorlax to participate in a glutton competition. Reward intimacy increased to the maximum value. The voice of the dog system sounded at the right time, and Zoomu looked down at the little Snorlax beside him. He found that this guy was also looking at him. What's the matter with this dependent look? Wait, dog system, are you rewarding intimacy or something else strange? The orientation of the little Snorlax will not change, right? Thinking of the insidiousness of the dog system, Zoomu shuddered instantly. But fortunately, this is just his imagination, and the little Snorlax should not have any other ideas. The little guy walked to Zoomu step by step, looked at Arceus who was in an excited state, and pouted his little mouth aggrievedly. Stretch out his short hands, Karu. Zoomu, hug. Zoomu just felt a headache. Since the little Snorlax met Lugia, the frequency of hugging has been ridiculously high. Now Zoomu can have a strong body, all thanks to the help of the little Snorlax. Nonsense. How can you not be strong if you lift weights every day? Okay. With a helpless smile, Zoomu bent down and prepared to lift the little Snorlax up. At the moment when Zoom's hands touched Snorlax's body suddenly lit up with white light. The light was bright, and Snorlax's body gradually changed. Zoomu knew that this guy was going to evolve. If Snorlax wanted to evolve, the condition he needed to complete was intimacy. When the system prompted Zoomu that the task was completed, Zoomu knew that Snorlax was not far from evolving, but he didn't expect it to be so fast, and he evolved with a hug. It's good to evolve, so I won't hug you anymore in the future. Zoomu smiled bitterly and looked at Snorlax with emotion. The white light of evolution slowly dissipated, and Snorlax's huge body gradually appeared in front of Zoomu. Evolution is about to come to an end. Some trainers advocate that the Pokémon should be trained to the extreme in each form before evolving, believing that this can bring out the Pokémon's greatest potential. Zoomu believes that this view is not unreasonable, but it is indeed unnecessary to suppress the evolution of Pokémon. For example, Growlithe needs a Fire Stone to evolve into Arcanine. If you train in the form of Growlithe for a year, you can fully unleash the potential of Growlithe. But another trainer chose to let Growlithe evolve directly and train Arcanine for a year. Comparing the two, it is obvious who is stronger and who is weaker. As for comparing the ultimate potential, to be honest, Pokémon, like humans, are also independent lives. They have their own thoughts and ideas. How many people would be willing to train in the novice village for more than 10 years and then go out to bully those peers who are a dozen years younger than you? Except for Zoomu's Charizard, such dog coins are probably rare in the world. So, it is better to evolve. Kirby. The evolved Snorlax roared excitedly. He didn't expect that he had just left home not long ago, and he turned into his mother's appearance so quickly and became a big kid. I still remember when I was at Liu's house, Snorlax's mother told me that when I can grow as big as my mother, it will prove that I have grown up. Zoomu, come and hug me. Extending his big hand, Snorlax was so excited that he wanted to hug Zoomu without thinking twice. Zoomu was scared. Who can bear this? In addition to the physique of the invincible real rookie, he can be swallowed by the stinky mud, crushed by Snorlax, the flames of Charizard, and the attack of Mewtwo. Who can bear it for an ordinary person? Wait a minute. Zoomu shouted and hurriedly stopped Snorlax. Stop it, good brother. If you hug me like this, I will be scrapped. Snorlax, you can lift me up, but you can't hold me like before. You are too big. In front of everyone, Zoomu gritted his teeth and explained. Fortunately, although Snorlax was very excited, he was not really crazy. After hearing Zoomu's words, he remembered that his mother also lifted him when he was a child. He quickly changed his posture and Snorlax lifted Zoomu high. Snorlax, Zoomu, I have become stronger and bigger. Zoomu was held in Snorlax's hand, Watching the audience below discussing with a smile, he said helplessly, "Yes, Snorlax, you are the biggest." This perfunctory answer, which seemed like driving, made Snorlax very excited. He switched Zoomu from his left hand to his right hand, and then back to his left hand. He had a lot of fun. Well, Zoomu's little Snorlax actually completed the evolution after the game. It's really a cause for celebration. Just won the championship of the Big Eater competition, and the elves have completed the evolution. Zoomu's luck and strength are really enviable. Let's use the warmest applause to express our blessings to our champion. The host is still very good at handling things. Seeing Zoomu embarrassed and not knowing what to say, he quickly opened his mouth to smooth things over. He is worthy of being a third-tier actor. This rescue can be said to have saved Zoomu's life. With a grateful look, Zoomu clasped his fist to thank the host from a distance, and then quickly broke free from Snorlax's hand and returned to the training hall with his group of elves. It's embarrassing. I didn't show off this time, but I was embarrassed. That's too much. Forget it. Considering Snorlax's young age, I won't bother with him. But, you must tell Snorlax in the future that you can't mess with me like this when there are many people around. It will make me, as a trainer, lose face. If the pretty girls see it, how can I explain it? Oh, I'm speechless. I must be careful in the future. Don't let this guy treat me like a ball and pass it back and forth. Zoomu muttered, returned to his room, packed his luggage, and prepared to leave for the station. Finally, under the astonished gaze of the audience, Arceus successfully defeated Devourer with his appetite and successfully won the championship of this glutton competition. Little Snorlax looked at Arceus in autism with a weird look on his face. To be honest, this guy doesn't look like he can eat. Thinking of his previous appearance of taking on too much, little Snorlax was really ashamed. Shameful. Arceus, are you full? The food was provided by the Liu family. Zoomu didn't have to spend money and he got a bonus, so he was naturally happy. Placing the big trophy on Arceus' back, Zoomu asked with a smile, "Half full." The opponent is not good enough. Arceus said these heartbreaking words happily. His behavior was exactly the same as his trainer Zoomu. It was too much. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the Little Snorlax sign-in task. 1. Bring or use Little Snorlax to participate in a Big Eater competition. Reward intimacy increased to the maximum value. The voice of the dog system sounded at the right time, and Zoomu looked down at the Little Snorlax beside him. He found that this guy was also looking at him. What's with this look of dependence? Wait, dog system, are you rewarding intimacy or something else? Little Snorlax's orientation will not change, right? Thinking of the dog system's insidiousness, Zoomu was instantly terrified. But fortunately, this was just his imagination. Little Snorlax should not have any other thoughts. The little guy walked to Zoomu step by step, looked at Arceus who was in an excited state, and pouted his mouth in grievance. He stretched out his short hands. "Karu, Zoomu, hug me." Zoomu just felt a headache. Since Snorlax met Lugia, he has been asking for hugs ridiculously often. Now Zoomu can have a strong body, all thanks to Snorlax's help. Nonsense. How can you not be strong if you lift weights every day? Okay. With a helpless smile, Zoomu bent down and prepared to lift Snorlax up. The moment Zoomu's hands touched Snorlax's body suddenly lit up with white light. The light was bright, and Snorlax's body gradually changed. Zoomu knew that this guy was going to evolve. If Snorlax wanted to evolve, the condition he needed to complete was intimacy. When the system prompted Zoomu that the task was completed, Zoomu knew that Snorlax was not far from evolving, but he didn't expect it to be so fast, and he evolved with a hug. It's good that it has evolved. This way, I won't hug you anymore. Zoomu smiled bitterly and looked at the little Snorlax with emotion. The white light of evolution slowly dissipated, and the huge body of Snorlax gradually appeared in front of Zoomu. The evolution is about to come to an end. Some trainers advocate that the Pokémon should be trained to the extreme in each form before evolving, believing that this can bring out the Pokémon's greatest potential. Zoomu believes that this view is not unreasonable. However, it is indeed unnecessary to suppress the evolution of Pokémon. For example, Growlithe needs a fire stone to evolve into Arcanine. If you train in the Growlithe form for a year, the potential of Growlithe will be fully stimulated. But another trainer chose to let Growlithe evolve directly and train Arcanine for a year. Comparing the two, it is obvious who is stronger and who is weaker. As for comparing the ultimate potential, to be honest, Pokémon are independent lives just like humans. They have their own thoughts and ideas. How many people would be willing to train in the novice village for more than 10 years and then go out to bully those peers who are more than 10 years younger than you? Except for Zoomew's Charizard, such a Dogecoin is probably rare in the world. So, it is better to evolve. Kirby, 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 the evolved Snorlax roared excitedly. He didn't expect that he had just left home not long ago, and he would become his mother's appearance so quickly and become a big child. I still remember when I was at Liu's house, Snorlax's mother told me that when I could grow as big as her, it would prove that I had grown up. Zoomew, come and hug me. Snorlax stretched out his big hand, and excitedly hugged Zoomew without thinking twice. Zoomew was scared. Who can bear this? In addition to the physique of an invincible real rookie, he can be swallowed by the stinky mud, crushed by Snorlax, the flames of Charizard, and the attack of Mewtwo intact. Ordinary people, who can bear it? Wait a minute. Zoomew shouted and hurriedly stopped Snorlax. Stop it, good brother. If you hug me like this, I will be scrapped. Snorlax, you can lift me up, but you can't hug me like before, you're too big. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Zoomew gritted his teeth and explained. Fortunately, although Snorlax was very excited, he was not really insane. After hearing Zoomew's words, he remembered that his mother also lifted him up when he was a child. He quickly changed his posture and lifted Zoomew high up. Snorlax, Zoomew, I've become stronger and bigger. Zoomew was held in Snorlax's hand, watching the audience below discussing with a smile. He said helplessly, yes, Snorlax, you are the biggest. This perfunctory answer that seemed like driving a car made Snorlax very excited. He switched Zoomew from his left hand to his right hand, and then from his right hand back to his left hand, and he had a lot of fun. Well, Zoomew's little Snorlax has evolved after the competition. Congratulations! Having just won the championship of the Big Eater competition, his Pokémon has evolved again. Zoomew's luck and strength are really enviable. Let's give our warmest applause to our champion. The host was very good at handling things. Seeing Zoomew embarrassed and not knowing what to say, he quickly spoke up to smooth things over. He is indeed a third-tier actor. This rescue effort saved Zoomew's life. With a grateful look, Zoomew clasped his fists to express his gratitude to the host from a distance, and then quickly broke free from Snorlax's hand and returned to the training hall with his Pokémon. It's embarrassing. I didn't show off this time, but I was embarrassed. It's too much. Forget it. Considering Snorlax is young, I won't bother with him. However, I must tell Snorlax next time that he should not mess with me like this when there are many people around. It will make me, as a trainer, lose face. How can I explain if those pretty girls see it? Oh, I'm speechless. I must be careful next time and don't let this guy treat me like a ball and pass it back and forth. Zoomew muttered to himself as he returned to his room. After packing his luggage, he prepared to leave for the station. Chapter 106, Bullying on the roadside is rampant. At the entrance of the training hall, Yankiankin had been waiting for Zoomew for a long time. Why, are you going to leave Fengcheng and start traveling today? Trainers need to travel, but most of them will do so after graduating from the academy and completing their studies. Just like Yankiankin herself, she went out to travel, challenge the gym, and prepare for the King Challenge after graduating from the academy. Of course, it is not ruled out that some trainers do not want to go to school and directly travel for adventure. However, such trainers will generally become the 10% accident in the secret realm. It is a good thing to die tragically on the street, but I am afraid that if they die in the secret realm, there will be no one to collect the body. That would be too miserable. Zoomew was a little surprised to see Yankiankin, but he quickly figured out the problem and smiled. Well, it's time to go out for a walk. Teacher Yang, thank you for taking care of me these days. It's time to go out to challenge the gym, on the one hand, and on the other hand Zoomew wants to see Shirona. It's been a long time since I saw this girl. and the two can only relieve their lovesickness through the phone. Zoomu is really uncomfortable. Okay, be careful. It's a bit chaotic outside now. I heard that some scoundrels are starting to stir up trouble again. Yankiankin reminded, just like in the anime, the evil forces of the Rocket Team naturally exist in the real world. In addition to some small gangs that often disturb public order and do some sneaky things, large organizations also exist, but such large-scale organizations are usually hidden deeper and rarely go out. They live a peaceful life on weekdays. Only when they meet a target, they will make a thundering move and then continue to lie dormant. Recently, the news that the mysterious young trainer has Lugia has spread to everyone without knowing it. The identity of this mysterious trainer was not mentioned in the rumor, but it would not be difficult for those who are interested. The matter of Meteor Falls is almost known to everyone. I am afraid that Zumu's name has appeared on the desks of many leaders of forces. It can be said that Yankiankian's reminder is unintentional, but the listener is intentional. Zumu clicked his tongue. He didn't expect that he would also enjoy the treatment of Zai now. He became the #1 target of the underground organization after a disagreement. Sure. Okay, Teacher Yang, go back. I can take care of myself. With a smile, Zumu strode out of the training hall. On the way to the station, Zumu remembered that Snorlax had not completed a roadside battle check-in task. He turned around and came to the central square of Fengcheng. There are many young people playing basketball here, and some elderly grandpas and aunts are dancing. Small cities do not have the hustle and bustle of big cities. The tranquility and warmth are most directly reflected in this central square. Seeing this, Zumu also put down his nervous pace, found a stone chair to sit down, smelled the fragrance of the green plants beside him, and began to observe the people around him. The young people played basketball, including flame chicken and human-shaped elves like Abby Lang. However, compared with elves, human basketball skills are not bad at all. After all, this is a sport invented by humans. Zumu looked at these guys and couldn't help but feel itchy. Greninja and Snorlax can also form a team. On the court, a 3-on-3 street basketball game was going on. Usually, it was played by a trainer with his 2 Pokémon. Zumu muttered silently and released Snorlax and Greninja. Look, this sport is called basketball. It can train your coordination skills. Are you interested? Greninja had no desire to play games, but when he heard that it could train himself, he quickly raised his hand to indicate that he wanted to try it. Snorlax saw that the big brother was going to go, so he didn't have any objection. Cool, Snorlax. Yes. After getting the answers from the 2 guys, Zumu didn't waste any words and started to explain the rules to them. In Zumu's team, the smartest guy should be Dragonite. He can read books and learn relevant knowledge by himself, and then arrange special training for himself. When he was in Meteor Falls, Dragonite understood the skills by his own efforts, without any guidance from his predecessors. Now it's the same. He often gives lectures to other Pokémon and arranges tutoring. After Zumu explained the rules of the game for 10 minutes, Greninja shook his head helplessly. This game is too difficult. You can't kick the ball with your feet, you can't dribble the ball with both hands continuously, and there are a lot of traveling, 3 seconds, and defensive fouls. He said he couldn't accept it and asked Zumu to call Dragonite. Zumu had no choice. Greninja was not interested, so let Dragonite do it. Then, Dragonite actually snatched the tactical board and corrected Zumu's previous explanation. According to the league's regulations last year, technical actions such as over the shoulder are no longer considered dribbling fouls. So Zumu, you are wrong. Also, you don't have to care about 3 seconds and a 3-on-3 wild ball. When Dragonite is educated, Zumu can only say, "Oh my god." Okay, I'm illiterate. Without saying a word, Zumu handed the phone to Dragonite and motioned for him to explain the rules to Snorlax. The stage is for you. You perform. Then, he himself looked like a good student, waiting obediently for Dragonite's teaching. After taking the phone, Dragonite was not polite and started to talk at length, and even formulated special tactics for Zumu's team. This time Zumu was really convinced. Dragonite is indeed a reading dragon. It is extraordinary. 2 hours later, Zumu and Snorlax finished listening to the lecture of Dragonite teacher. stood up and moved their bodies simply, and did the usual warm-up. Zoomu came to the court, looked at these young people full of blood, and said with a smile, "Is there anyone who wants to play a game? Whoever can beat me, I will give him 3,000 league coins." When these words came out, even the young people who were playing were stunned. "Don't you know who is the king of football in Fengcheng Central Square? So arrogant. 3,000 league coins for a game. Your family must have a mind. Come, I want to fight you. I'll do it. I'll do it. Get out of the way. Don't you know who is the grandson and who is the grandfather here? I'll do it. Get out of the way. Good grandson. Don't fight with grandpa for 3,000 yuan. How can you not respect the old and love the young? The court was in chaos in an instant. In order to play a game with Zoomu, these young people got entangled with each other and were about to fight. It seemed that Zoomu was a typical fat sheep, waiting for them to harvest. Looking at the scene in front of him, Zoomu smiled calmly. Sure enough, pretending to be cool is suitable for me. If I can't pretend to be cool, what fun is there in living? Chapter 107, The Flirtatious King on the Court. Under the gaze of the crowd, Zoomu swaggered onto the court with 2 Ls. He randomly picked a young man who seemed to be very powerful, and didn't even bother to know his name, and said directly, "Come on, it's you. If you win, I will give you 3,000 league coins." The young man was very happy. As the second in command on the court, he had never been defeated by anyone in playing basketball, except the guy who was the first. "Well, you asked for it." After spitting on the ground, the young man said viciously. Zoomu smiled. "Okay, you are young, you are powerful. I am an old guy, so I won't bother with you." Without saying more, Zoomu picked up a basketball and handed it to Dragonite and Snorlax. "You two tried to feel the ball, pat it and move it, and put this ball in the basket later." Zoomu's words shocked everyone. What's going on? This guy wants Snorlax to play basketball? What a joke. Isn't this fat and slow-reacting Pokémon just a delivery boy? Fuck, I want the $3,000 for free. Damn, why wasn't I the one competing with him? $3,000. Hehe, Snorlax, this guy is really out of his mind. A bunch of young people started to speak out again. They expressed their opinions one after another, wishing they could replace the young man and Zoomu to play a game. Seeing Zoomu choose Snorlax, the second-in-command young man was also stunned. "Do you really want to play basketball with this Pokémon?" Zoomu was immediately unhappy when he heard this. "What do you mean by this Pokémon? Who are you talking about? What's wrong with Snorlax?" The young man was speechless. "What's wrong with Snorlax? You let a ghastly without hands play Pokémon table tennis, and let Snorlax play basketball. Isn't it the same? It's just to die, right? As long as you are okay, I don't care." The young man didn't want to say more. He thought Zoomu was too stubborn and needed to prove Zoomu wrong with practical actions. Let Zoomu lose 3,000 league coins to him. That's enough. Hehe. Zoomu laughed. These guys are really short-sighted. Because of the existence of elves in this world, basketball has not developed so well. Many trainers will not consider playing basketball as a professional sport. Unlike the world before Zoomu, a basketball league called NBA radiates the world. The best athletes in the world use their life's energy to pursue a championship. Similarly, in that era when basketball geniuses emerged in an endless stream, there was a supercenter named O'Neal who dominated the league for more than 10 years. Now, what Zoomu has to do is very simple, that is, to let these guys know the true meaning of center. And, fat people can play basketball. Let's start. You serve first. Zoomu threw the ball to the young man. The young man seemed unwilling to take advantage and quickly passed the ball back. "No, you go first." Then the young man said, "We play 10 balls and then change serves. The rule is very simple. The side that scores 10 balls first wins, and changing serves means that the side that scores a goal exchanges the ball with the defending side, and the offense and defense are exchanged. This ensures fairness while also taking care of the side with weak defense." It can be seen that the young man obviously thinks that he does not need to be taken care of. The reason why he put forward this condition is nothing more than to give in to Zoomu, let himself feel more at ease for winning these 3,000 alliance coins. Hearing him mention this rule, The young people on the side of the court have begun to get excited. Some shouted and some whistled. In short, the atmosphere of street basketball was very nice because of this group of young people. Okay, then come on. Zumu had no opinion on the rule. It's just a change of serve, so it's a little troublesome. It's also good to avoid the kid not touching the ball and the game is over. Give him some game experience. Thinking of this, Zumu patted the ball in his hand, walked to the sideline, and started serving. The first round begins. In the backcourt, Zumu and Dragonite were holding the ball and advancing, while Snorlax went directly to the restricted area of the opponent's half. His huge body directly blocked the opponent's two elves out of the restricted area. After Zumu slowly dribbled the ball across half-court and came to the three-point line, he waved his hand and shot directly in front of the young man. He didn't care about the young man's defense at all. Swish! The crisp sound of the net sounded, and Zumu shot a three-pointer. No, Zumu touched the net. The young people around saw Zumu's unreliable but confident shooting, and immediately booed. Even the young man on the court sneered. That's it. Zumu was too lazy to say more, and snorted coldly. That's it. The next second, the basketball was grabbed by Snorlax in midair, and it was dunked directly into the basket. Bang! Snorlax's hand and the basket collided violently, making a loud noise. Everyone was stunned. With Snorlax's tonnage and weight, he could actually jump so high. You may not know that Snorlax can also fly, and Fatty is also flexible. Zumu whispered, silently returning to defense. All this was within his expectations, and Dragonite had already made arrangements. Taking advantage of everyone's surprise, he started with a dunk. As for the three-point shot before, Zumu really missed it. He really didn't shoot accurately. This can't be explained. He hasn't played basketball for so long, and Zumu is not a professional. It's normal to shoot a bit worse. Anyway, there is a big center Snorlax under the basket, so all these problems are not big, impossible. He must be lucky. Watching Snorlax drive his two elves out of the restricted area, and tyrannizing the basket alone, the young man still comforted himself with this lame excuse. There is no way. The temptation of the league coin is too great. 3,000. With this money, the young man can buy himself a better pair of sneakers. So, he must win. With a firm belief, the young man started to cross the half-court with the ball, behind, under the crotch, turn around, change direction. The basketball seemed to have become a handy prop in the hands of the young man, and he played with it vigorously. However, just when the young man was 1-on-2 and past the defense of Zumu and Kui Long, the moment the young man shot the ball, a huge figure suddenly appeared and directly covered the young man's body. It was Snorlax. The giant in the penalty area had already jumped high at this time, and slapped the basketball that the young man had just shot away. A solid block, extremely clean. After the basketball was blown away, Snorlax roared and slapped his chest frantically with both hands. Olage. Chapter 108. Fusion of Tatty Bloodline. Want to shoot the ball in front of my Snorlax? The center? Dream on. When Dragonite was explaining the tactics, he specifically said that Snorlax is the king of this restricted area. What he has to do is to put the ball into the basket during the offensive round, and prevent the opponent's ball from entering our basket during the defensive round. Snorlax is also very competitive, and he understands this little thing at a glance. As a flexible fat man, he has his own dignity. Guarding the restricted area is Snorlax's mission. Fuck. With Snorlax's big block, the young people watching were directly stupid. What a terrifying existence. Directly blocking the opponent at the free throw line, it simply affects the balance of the game of basketball. According to common sense, a fat and heavy center like Snorlax should be a loophole when defending. It is the easiest to be used as a background board. As a result, Snorlax did the opposite and directly blocked the opponent. This is unreasonable. It's my turn to attack. Taking the basketball from the sidelines, Zumu smiled. Come on, young man. You are just dreaming if you want to earn 3,000 alliance coins from me. I am a big spender who consumes tens of thousands of alliance coins just to feed the elves every day. How can I do the job of an idiot money-delivering boy? 3,000 alliance coins are just bait. You want to beat me, Zumu? You are dreaming. The following battle is extremely exciting. Dragonite and Zoom are almost just lazy players. They are only responsible for dribbling the ball across half-court and then throwing the ball into the sky. The rest is to shout 666 in the bottom corner. There is no way. Snorlax's tonnage is simply a god in basketball battles. If Xiangyu, the king of Western Chu, were alive, he would probably only look at Snorlax and shed helpless tears. This guy is a freak. He is so heavy, but he can still have an unreasonable bounce. Dunking is as easy as drinking water. It's okay to be invincible on the offensive end, but Snorlax can still be coquettish on the defensive end. A flexible fat man, no matter how the young man dribbled and moved, he could not escape the fate of being blocked in the end. One after another, the solid hot pot caps completely blew the young man away and he became autistic. 10 minutes later, when Snorlax dunked the last ball, the young man turned around and left with the elf. He was too embarrassed to stay any longer. Would he stay and humiliate himself? Originally thought Zoom was a fat sheep, but he didn't expect that eating mutton would hurt his teeth. He almost broke his teeth. Awesome. To be honest, the onlookers watched Snorlax's wonderful personal show and had to sigh. Awesome. This Snorlax completely subverted people's perception of basketball in this era. It turns out that basketball can be played like this. So, this is basketball? How come this is a little different from what I know? Snorlax, a spirit, can actually play basketball, which is simply a miracle. At this moment, many young people have already had the idea of cultivating a Snorlax. If it weren't for Snorlax's huge appetite that forced these young people to retreat, I'm afraid that it wouldn't be long before the entire basketball circle would be swept by a wave of Snorlax craze. In fact, even if everyone can't afford to raise a Snorlax, it can't stop the young people from loving Snorlax. I'm afraid that in the next period of time, Snorlax will be passed down in the basketball world as a sharp myth, and Snorlax's game today will also be remembered by everyone at the scene. The appearance of the legendary center means that the basketball world will undergo earth-shaking changes. However, all this has nothing to do with Zoom. Congratulations to the host for completing Snorlax's sign-in task. 2. Bring or use Snorlax to participate in a street fight in Fengcheng. Reward Tatty Bloodline. The dog system's prompt sound rang, indicating that Zoom had successfully completed Snorlax's second sign-in task. Tatty Bloodline. This legendary bloodline of the glutton that can devour everything was actually obtained by Snorlax. How terrifying it would be. Zoom couldn't imagine what Snorlax would become after integrating Tatty Bloodline. A red light suddenly appeared, and Snorlax's body changed strangely. Snorlax's small eyes, which were originally light green beans, turned red strangely after the red light appeared. The scarlet color made people look chilling, and this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that Zoom knew how to use the Tatty Bloodline. Tatty Bloodline, a bloodline that can devour everything. Pokémon with this bloodline can instantly convert all the food they eat into their own combat power, completing a permanent improvement. When the Tatty bloodline is perfectly integrated, Snorlax can even devour everything. Zoom clicked his tongue. He didn't expect the dog system to be so generous. He just took Snorlax to play a street basketball game in Fengcheng casually, and he got such a perverted reward. Good guy. This is really a system. Dogs can become the strongest trainers. Are there any more to play? The old rules. I lose and give 3,000 alliance coins. Seeing that Snorlax was still unsatisfied, Zoom decided to be a good person to the end and let Snorlax have fun first. Zoom asked the young people present again arrogantly. However, the monster-like performance of Snorlax just now obviously scared everyone. So, no one dared to speak again this time. Compared with 3,000 alliance coins, everyone thought that life was more important. There was no way. This Snorlax was too powerful. This guy was really like a killer in the restricted area, and no one could stop him. No one for 3,000, then 30,000 will be fine. Seeing that no one paid attention to him, Zoom raised the price helplessly. Since 3,000 is not good and there is no opponent, then 30,000. People die for money, and birds die for food. Zoom doesn't believe that as long as the money is in place, there is nothing in this world that can't be done. Let's try. The price rose to 30,000, and people began to be unable to bear it one after another. 30,000, this is enough for an ordinary trainer to spend in a year, and there is even a lot of surplus. This condition is simply impossible to refuse. Even if they know that they can't beat Zumu, there are still many young people who come forward with a fluke and take the initiative to challenge Zumu. Then, needless to say, the result was a slap in the face. How could Zumu, a stingy old man, lose? Snorlax swept all the way and pinned all his opponents to the ground. The strength of a super center is no joke. Although Zumu and Dragonite were just paddling, Snorlax still fought 1 against 3 and won one game after another. It was not until the sky gradually darkened that Zumu left with Snorlax, who was still a little reluctant, go to the station and take the train to the next gym. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109, A New Starting Point, Rapid Gym. Since the goal is clear, Zumu has no nonsense to say on this trip. Before meeting Sirona, he has to collect the remaining 14 gym badges. Time is tight and the task is heavy. Zumu can't afford to delay, so he goes to the gym quickly and kicks the gym directly. Arriving in Pincheng, Zumu looked at the azure sky here and took a deep breath of fresh air. Pincheng is worthy of being called the city of the sky. The sky is bluer than our Fengcheng. Looking up in confusion, Zumu couldn't help but sigh. That's right, it's the same sky, and the feeling is different in one's own heart. Perhaps, starting over, for Zumu, is a kind of openness. He is not the kind of person who likes to be bound. Not only does he have to go to school, but more importantly, Zumu has been waiting for his fate during this period. I don't know if his father has come forward. Anyway, the problem is solved now. Zumu has finally lifted the seal, and the big devil is back. Young man, is this your first time in our Pincheng? Just as Zumu was looking up at the sky, an old man came forward and asked with a smile. It can be seen that this is an old resident of Pincheng. Yes, this is my first time here. As a 5 good youth of the new era, Zumu decided to respond to the old man's chat in a friendly manner. The old man was still smiling, and his beard made it impossible to see any obvious changes in his expression. Let me tell you, young man, the sky in our Pincheng is unique. Every traveler or trainer like you who comes here always looks up at the sky for a long time. The old man must be old, and he can't stop talking. Zumu was embarrassed to interrupt him, so he could only listen to the old man talking non-stop. At this moment, he seemed to have returned to the time when he played games and encountered the kind of NPC who talked a lot. After about 5 minutes, Zumu finally escaped from the old man's nagging, and hurriedly ran to the gym without saying anything. As soon as he arrived at the door of the gym, he saw the apprentice who was guarding the door holding a piece of paper and comparing it with the trainers coming and going one by one. Zumu walked forward curiously. Hello, I want to challenge. It's Zumu. Quickly notify the gym owner. Zumu is here. Oh my god, it's Zumu. Close the door. Close the door. When Zumu saw these apprentices seeing him, he fled in a panic as if he saw some unforgivable villain. He was speechless immediately. I didn't seem to have done anything. Why? Like this, in the last martial arts gym, I seemed to have pretended to be a little bitch and used the identity of a rookie trainer to slap his face. There is nothing to blame the heavens and people to be jealous of, right? Muttering silently in his heart, Zumu strode towards the gym. This is good. The gatekeepers were scared away by themselves, and there was no need to report and check their identities. Zumu walked forward boldly. Gym owner, Zumu, who is a rookie trainer and challenges gyms everywhere, is here. The apprentice who was guarding the door trotted all the way, leaving Zumu far behind, and hurried back to the gym to report to the gym owner. The gym owner of the speed gym is a middle-aged woman named Lin Yuking. Perhaps because of her name, Lin Yuking was born with an indissoluble bond with flying-type Pokémon. After she became a top trainer, she inherited the position of the leader of the speed gym. Over the years, she has also been on missions, and her strength has gradually improved to the level of the venerable. It's just that because she didn't have the opportunity to participate in the King Challenge in the World King Tournament, she can only be called a top trainer. Zumu is here? Lin Yuking, who was sewing a paraglider, was stunned when she heard the words, "This troublemaker who can cause trouble is here?" "No, close the door quickly." This was Lin Yuking's first reaction. Hearing that Zumu came to challenge the gym, Lin Yuking subconsciously wanted to close the door and keep this big trouble out. As the owner of the gym, Lin Yuking is not afraid of losing. It's just that Zumu's affairs have now spread to the ears of gym leaders everywhere. This kid with Lugia is a big trouble ghost. If you don't believe it, look at the silly fool in the martial arts gym. Because he didn't know Zumu, his people made such a big joke. Now everyone outside knows that the martial arts gym was beaten from bottom to top by a rookie trainer, and the gym was kicked and blown up. To be honest, if the rules did not allow it, Lin Yuking really wanted to give the badge to Zumu directly and let him go quickly. Go as far as you can. Now Zumu himself does not know his whereabouts, and there are so many people paying attention to him openly and secretly. There are at least 8 or 10 venerables who are secretly protecting him now. So, Zumu is now like a time bomb that will explode at any time. As the bomb itself, Zumu himself does not know, and he has to wander around and join in the fun wherever there are more people. Now, this kid has to challenge the gym for some reason. As a result, except for the lava gym and the martial arts gym, almost everyone in the hundreds of gyms in the East is in danger. They are afraid that Zumu will be unhappy or upset and come to their own gym to challenge. If the bomb explodes suddenly, the gym owner will be in trouble for 8 lifetimes. Now, the first person to win the first prize is Lin Yuking, so she is now having a headache, how to send this little ancestor away as safely as possible. "Hello, is this Master Lin?" A plain voice suddenly appeared from the door. Lin Yuking looked back and saw a young man in a white coat standing at the door of his office. No need to think, the person coming is Zumu. Don't ask why he came uninvited. Zumu was very tired to find this place by himself from outside. On the way, the apprentices were scared as if they saw a ghost when they saw him, which made Zumu look confused. "What's wrong? When has my reputation spread so widely?" "It's not good to be too famous. In the future, I can't easily pit those idiots who don't have enough brains," Zumu thought to himself, and tried his best to pretend to be harmless. Unfortunately, his true face had been seen through by Lin Yuking. The woman sneered and said, "You are here to challenge the gym, right?" Zumu nodded. "Okay, one-on-one, Zia, take him to the venue first. It will start in 10 minutes. If it weren't for the registration and preparation before the battle, Lin Yuking didn't want to wait even 10 minutes. "Let's start quickly. The sooner we finish the fight, the sooner we can get rid of Zumu, the little ancestor." Seeing Lin Yuking so straightforward, Zumu didn't waste any words, simply nodded, and then asked the apprentice named Zihao to take him to the venue and wait for the game to start. Chapter 110 The Legendary Underground Organization. People just like to scare themselves. In fact, if Zumu comes here and you behave honestly, nothing will happen. The key is that you have to think and guess, and keep praying that nothing will happen. According to Murphy's Law, the more Lin Yuking thinks about it, the greater the probability of something happening. 10 minutes is enough for a terrorist attack. Who is Zumu? He is the most dazzling genius of this era. Well, he is the biggest piece of fat in this era. With a juvenile beast like Lugia in his hand, Zumu is definitely the biggest target of countless collectors and ambitious people. So, terrorist attacks are naturally expected. At the moment Zumu arrived at the battle site, the lighting system of the entire speed gym suddenly went out of control. Then, a thick smoke began to appear on the ground. When the smoke gradually faded, Zumu was surprised to find that he was surrounded. "Who are you?" Seeing a group of black-clothed people covering their faces, Zumu asked unhappily. "This situation is already obvious. That is, I don't know when I was being targeted. As for the purpose of staring at him, it goes without saying that he came for the little Lugia. Boy, it doesn't matter who we are. What matters is that you hand over Lugia quickly, otherwise." The standard villain's lines came out from the black-clothed man who led the way, and Zumu almost laughed out loud. "Well, Didn't your family tell you not to talk like that when you go out? Zoomu couldn't help but asked. Hey, don't you know that villains who talk like that usually don't survive more than 3 episodes in TV series? Hee. You really don't want your life. You dare to rob me. Hee. Zoomu sneered and cast his eyes around, on the battlefield. Except for the apprentice Xiaohao who had been lying down at some point, there was only Zoomu left. It seemed that Zoomu was going to fail this time. However, Zoomu was not panicked at all. What was there to panic about? Thinking back to the time when a group of venerables surrounded Zoomu, it was useless. Now this group of brothers, Zoomu was just what a big deal. It was quite grand. Isn't it just to want Lugia? Lugia, come out. Zoomu released Lugia calmly and said, watch out. These guys are the bad guys who want to take you away from me. For such people, you must be ruthless. You have to make them suffer. If it doesn't work once, kill them twice. Kill as many as come. Lugia stared with curious eyes, showing a very angry look. You want to take me away from Zoomu? Impossible. With a light cry, Lugia was ready to fight, and rolled up his sleeves to fight. Boy, you are quite sensible. You know to release Lugia without my order. Very good. The leading black-clothed man had a playful look on his face. In his opinion, Zoomu was a fish on the chopping board, which he could slaughter at will. As for the cruel words Zoomu just said, this guy didn't care at all. It is said that Zoomu is very strong, so all the people who came this time are the king-level strongmen in the organization. According to the division of the Alliance Standard, almost every one of these black-clothed men has the strength of a king or even a venerable. Such a luxurious team is used to target a rookie trainer. This Zoomu should be able to rest in peace. Asshole, who are you? In a flash, the black-clothed people have released their elves and surrounded Zoomu. When the two sides were on the verge of a fight, Lin Yuqing arrived. With a sword eyebrow, Lin Yuqing was furious. These scoundrels actually made trouble on his territory. They were too much. They were tired of living. Right. Close the door. Close the rapid gym in all aspects. And some rats came in. Make sure they all stay. The order to seal the door was issued at the first time. Lin Yuqing did not choose to ask for help, but stood there generously, ready to fight against the invading enemy with Zoomu. This is her territory. If something happened here, she would be the first to be responsible. However, no matter how big the responsibility is, Lin Yuqing does not want to lose face. However, it is just an underground organization. Now I don't even know the origin of the opponent. If I rashly ask for help like this, wouldn't it be too embarrassing? Besides, the whole gym is Lin Yuqing's people, so there is really no need to ask for help. Even if these black-clothed men are strong, what can they do? With strong confidence, Lin Yuqing released his 3 Pokémons, Pidgeot, Salamander, and Warhawk. Zoomu also released Greninja, Charizard, and Dragonite at the same time. Cool. Another fight? I thought it was a gym battle, and Greninja had made full pre-war mobilization preparations last night. Unexpectedly, a group of idiots came to die halfway. Greninja rubbed his hands excitedly, his eyes full of fighting spirit. The enemy is good. The enemy can be ruthless, and can attack with all his strength. Compared with Greninja, Charizard's fighting spirit is average, but after carefully observing a circle, he said at the first time, Roar. Zoomu, I want the best medicine this time. There are too many opponents. 10 black-clothed men, each with 6 Pokémons. Even if they are not all main forces, there are at least more than 50 Pokémons. With so many opponents, it's probably impossible to remain intact. Dragonite had heard the conversation between Zoomu and Lugia before, and this bookish dragon was already furious. Yo, Roar. Fighting violence with violence is the way to execute justice. With a heavy dragon roar, Dragonite is ready to fight. Greninja transforms, Charizard Mega evolves, and Dragonite reverses scales and runs away. The 3 Pokémons instantly enter the combat state and burst out with powerful strength, which makes Lin Yuqing, who is watching from the side, horrified. Is this little guy really 16 years old? A monster. Fortunately, the gym battle has not started. Otherwise with these 3 Pokémons, I'm afraid I will be sealed. Secretly rejoicing in his heart, Lin Yuqing locked his target on the black-clothed man who led the group. Come on, it's you, Violent Salamander. Mega Evolve. Pidgeot, Fierce Storm, War Eagle, Tailwind. Tailwind can accelerate your own Pokémons, and the increase for flying Pokémons is even greater. The Charizard in the sky was blessed by the War Eagle's Tailwind, and a mouthful of Dragon's Fury was ejected, heading straight for a Bulbasaur on the ground. The battle was about to begin. Greninja, Shadow Clone Technique, Spiral Super Ball, Water Shuriken. Previously in the training hall, Greninja successfully developed the Spiral Super Ball, Water Shuriken, and now is the time to test the results. Greninja received the order, a confident smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and his hands formed seals at the speed of light, instantly creating dozens of shadow clones. Chapter 111 New Way of Fighting. Dozens of Greninjas did not condense two water spiral shurikens in their hands as before. Instead, they worked in pairs, with one Greninja next to another, helping it condense a very large water spiral shuriken. The scale of this water spiral shuriken is dozens of times larger than before, with a diameter of more than 1 meter. Super large Jade. That's it. The power of one shadow clone is not enough to release a super large Jade spiral water shuriken, and only two can work together to release the skill. This stunt of Greninja stunned all the black-clad people present. What is this fancy? Before, Greninja's set of spiral water shuriken combined with the combo of the shadow clone technique made the opponent confused, and one trick was enough to eat all the world. So now, this new move of Greninja is the updated Crab, new from the inside out, completely debuting for the first time. Boom! Explosions rang out one after another, and the spiral super large Jade water shuriken exploded crazily in the group of elves, and output crazily. What skill? What is this? How can it be so powerful? Where did this kid come from? How can he have such a forbidden technique? Help, please. My Ice Coast Guard is going to bleed too much. I won't fight anymore. Retreat quickly. The men in black were not a well-trained organization. They were all strong men from all over the place, and they were originally undisciplined. This time they were able to go on a collective mission to target Zoomu, which meant that the people above attached too much importance to Zoomu. Otherwise it would be impossible to gather so many venerables to act together. Although they suffered heavy casualties from the new move of Koga Ninja, the strength of these men in black quickly attracted the attention of Lin Yuking. Something is wrong. So many masters of the king level? Which organization has such a big hand? Although they are just scattered soldiers, but they can gather so many strong men to betray the alliance. I am afraid it is definitely a mole that has been hiding for many years. A big guy. Thinking in his heart, Lin Yuking was worried that he could not protect Zoomu well, and he was secretly excited. Although such a large underground organization was discovered by herself because of Zoomu, she was still a witness at the first scene. If the alliance goes back to wipe out this mole, she can also get a deserved reward. However, the current situation is a bit tricky. No matter how strong Zoomu is, there are only 3 elves at best, and Lin Yuking herself, to be honest, her strength is at most equal to that of a man in black. In this situation, she suddenly regretted it. She didn't expect the opponent to be so strong. Lin Yuking has never heard of any underground organization that can send out so many king-level strongmen from the alliance. It's like a joke. Where did so many people come from? Zoomu, I can only hold off 2 of you at most. Can you handle the rest? Looking at the 10 people on the opposite side, Lin Yuking opened his mouth and yelled. This is her territory. Counting her 2 close disciples and the second team of elves she kept at home, there is still hope to stop the 2 men in black. As for the remaining 8 people, Lin Yuking said that she was powerless. Zoomu replied, don't bother, Master Lin, don't intervene. He was so confident. You kept on talking and hesitating, but I waved my hand and told you to retreat. Zoomu stood proudly, looking at the black-clad men whose morale had been crushed by Greninja, and smiled. Charizard, show us your training results. Greninja finished its group attack and was panting heavily. This move was too physically demanding, but correspondingly, the power of the new skill was equally impressive. After Greninja finished its demonstration, it was Charizard's turn. Roar! Charizard drank the energy drink in big gulps, his eyes solemn. Is it my turn? With an evil smile on his lips, Purple-red flames burst out from his body. The blood blessing of the fire dragon god not only passively enhances Charizard's combat effectiveness, but also has an extremely special talent skill. Evil Flame Dragon. Zumu roared, and Charizard's wings slowly flapped. The powerful wings were now surrounded by flames, looking extremely majestic. Opening its mouth, Charizard didn't hesitate and directly sprayed out a mouthful of purple-red flames. The flames turned into a long dragon in the air. This dark purple dragon rushed forward with endless evil fire to all the opponents in front of it. Unstoppable. Boom. Explosion again. The battlefield of the Rapid Gym was quite solid. The previous move of Greninja barely blasted the ground into pieces, which was still within an acceptable range. But Charizard's attack was bad. After the evil flame dragon penetrated the bodies of 7 elves with one blow, it rushed to the roof with its remaining power, blasted the roof of the Rapid Gym into pieces, went straight into the sky, and slowly dissipated. Roar! It's a bit out of control. Seeing this, Charizard also knew that he seemed to have destroyed the environment again, and scratched his head awkwardly. Zumu was speechless and ordered, "Be careful next time. Gym Master Lin won't bother with you, but maybe other people will be unhappy. You must control your skills in the future and don't destroy other people's homes anymore." This was said to Lin Yuqing. Seeing that Charizard defeated 7 elves in one move, Lin Yuqing couldn't take care of his gym at the moment. The ceiling was broken, couldn't it be repaired? The important thing now is to deal with these moles from the underground organization. It's okay, let go and fight. He waved his hands quickly, indicating that it was okay. Lin Yuqing was now confused. He was blown away by Zumu's show. This kid is not only the strength of a top trainer. Just looking at his 3 elves, I'm afraid it won't be a big problem for him to participate in the World King tournament now. After swallowing his saliva, Lin Yuqing said that he couldn't see through Zumu. This guy. Look, Master Lin has said that there is no problem, just do it. Dragonite, it's your turn to perform. Dragonite, who was already in a rampage state, became even more violent after hearing this. The combination of reverse scale and rampage is the result of Dragonite's training during this period. Next, it is time for Shushalong to show the results of this special training. Yo! A dragon roar that did not sound like a dragon roar came out of Dragonite's mouth, and a layer of red halo seemed to appear on the body of the yellow little fat man. Then, he flapped his 2 small meat wings and rushed straight into the opponent's group of elves. A wolf enters a flock of sheep and kills indiscriminately. Dragonite's eyes were bloodshot, and at this moment he seemed to have turned into a mad dragon. Carrying the power of heaven, he fought against the group alone. He killed 7 times in the group of elves, vigorous, and no one could match him. Chapter 112, The King of Indiscriminate Fighting. The 3 Pokémon started to show off, and Zumu smiled confidently. I told you that I didn't want to be a trainer. Look, if I become a trainer, how can others live? Alas, there is no way. Excellence is also a sin. The gorgeous skills are colorful, flying and raging in the battlefield of the gym. The battle has only started for a few minutes, and the speed gym has been somewhat ruined by the aftermath of the battle. The weakest Pokémon present are all at the king level, and all of them are using their own special skills with all their strength. Not to mention the speed gym, even the provincial competition arena is not enough for such a level of destruction. Not long after, Zumu's 3 Pokémons gained the upper hand. They are not afraid of fighting more with fewer people, but become more and more courageous. Especially Charizard. This guy was still timid before the battle, but once the battle started, he was like a dragon. The black body in the air was like a precise torrent, constantly spraying flames, attacking every Pokémon on the ground, including teammates. Range damage, regardless of friend or foe. A layer of water film was attached to the surface of the body of Koga Ninja, isolating the flames of Charizard. The battle was not affected too much, and it was still a case of killing people and Buddhas. On the other hand, Dragonite was completely furious. At this moment, he was burned by the flames of Charizard and fell into an even more violent state. He could still maintain a trace of rationality, but because of this flame, the severe pain made Dragonite lose control directly. The king-level elves were knocked away with 1 punch. The master-level elves were just 2 punches. No matter how strong they are, it doesn't matter, Just 3 punches. Dragonite was really crazy, and his fighting style made Zoomu shudder. It was too violent. This was completely different from the usually gentle and elegant reading dragon. Could this guy have 2 dragons, and call out the dark dragon when fighting? Who are you and which organization are you from? Lin Yuqing saw that the people in black had completely lost the mentality to continue fighting, and immediately asked, I hope to have a chance to take advantage of the collapse of some people's psychological defenses to ask something useful. Otherwise, when these guys are taken away by the Alliance, this matter will have little to do with her. I want to say, can you? The black-clothed people all wore masks to cover their faces, but the voice sounded quite young. He was about to ask about his fate, but he didn't expect the leader next to him to suddenly stab him from behind. It was a real knife. The black-clothed man was stabbed in the back and felt pain immediately, and was forced to stop talking before he finished. Lin Yuqing remembered this guy. His elves were all defeated when the first wave of Koga Greninja bombarded him. He was an unlucky guy. Listening to his voice again, this guy probably just joined the gang not long ago, and should be a breakthrough. Having made up his mind, Lin Yuqing asked Zanuang to take action without saying a word, ready to save this man. But he never thought that the leader of the black-clothed man quickly pulled out a dagger and stabbed him directly in the neck. Swish! A cold light flashed, and blood splashed. Lin Yuqing was stunned. This man was so cruel that he killed his own people. If anyone disturbs the morale of the army and tries to escape again, I will clean them up by myself. Gritting his teeth and cursing, the leader in black continued to command the battle, letting everyone's elves attack Zumu's 3 elves according to their attributes. So many elves can't beat 3. I don't believe this evil. The leader has expressed his attitude. If they don't succeed, they will die. At this moment, the black-clothed people have to act like they are fighting to the death. Otherwise, no one can guarantee that the leader's next knife will not be cut on themselves. Yes, Steelix, resist the attack of that Greninja and use protection. Kyla Crocodile, you too, use water cannon to attack Charizard. After losing a teammate, the black-clothed people seem to have rekindled their desire to fight. Whether it was true or not, they all gave orders. Zumu was also secretly amazed when he saw this scene. He knows his own business. The 3 of Greninja seemed to be fighting 10 people at once, which was very impressive. In fact, their consumption was also very large. Let's not talk about anything else, just Dragonite. Zumu estimated that if this guy could hold out for another 3 minutes, it would probably be too much. His original intention was to destroy the opponent's mentality in one wave, and then catch a few guys who surrendered and defeat them one by one. But he didn't expect the opponent to come up with such a move, directly turning the tables. Then there is no other way. Greninja, Charizard, save your energy and attack the opponent's trainer. Attacking trainers is a rule that is only allowed in indiscriminate battles. In normal battles, this kind of behavior of attacking the opponent's trainer is absolutely a foul. But now, it is no longer a normal Pokémon battle. Both sides only want victory, without so many morals and rules. If they continue to fight with the opponent in a proper manner, Zumu will be the first to finish. Moreover, since the opponent has already used his own people to get the first blood, Zumu has no need to be polite. Cool, it's finally here. Indiscriminate fighting, Greninja whispered, and the fighting spirit in his eyes became stronger again. He has experienced this kind of battle since he was a child, and he is most familiar with it. Sneak attack on the opponent's trainer. This is the best fighting method for Greninja as a ninja. With a confident smile, Greninja instantly formed a seal. The water clone and shadow clone were activated at the same time, instantly transforming into dozens of himself, and then moving quickly. Seeing this, Zumu smiled and said, "You guys have a trick up your sleeve." Greninja raised his eyebrows proudly. "That's natural. I'm a ninja, and I always have my own trump card." Of course, he just thought about it in his mind and didn't dare to say it directly. Greninja knew who Zumu was very well. If he knew that he had been hiding something from him, I'm afraid his future would be difficult. Ah! With a scream, Greninja directly broke the arm of a man in black, and forced him to kneel on the ground, so that the elf stopped attacking. The man in black was in Greninja's hands, and he didn't dare to hesitate and did it immediately. "Get one." Then the next. Another scream. Greninja's water clones and shadow clones are all physical entities. Even if the opponent's Pokémon surround their trainers, they still cannot stop Greninja's attack on the back row. Moreover, when the clones are attacked, they will just dissipate and will not have any effect on Greninja. In this case, in just 2 minutes, including the leading black-clothed man, all 9 black-clothed men were taken down by Greninja without bloodshed, and they were pressed to the ground and knelt in a row. Chapter 113, Rewards from the Alliance. Mr. Zoomu, let us handle the interrogation. Please rest assured, our inspection team promises you on behalf of the Alliance that we will get to the bottom of this matter. Zoomu wiped out the black-clad men, and the Alliance also arrived. This speed of doing things is simply speechless. However, this is also the current drawback of the Alliance. For example, high-level tasks like this require the existence of a venerable level existence to form an inspection team to go on missions together, which naturally takes a certain amount of time. Although Zoomu has always been protected by strong people, since Zoomu is not in danger of life, these people naturally have no need to take action. They will continue to hide in the dark and wait for the arrival of the next batch of moles. Okay, thank you for your hard work. Zoomu did not complain or say much. He handed these people over to the inspection team and let the Alliance deal with them, and then looked at Lin Yuking. Lin Yuking no longer had any utilitarianism at this time. The gym was beaten to pieces, and she was a little dazed now. What sin have I committed? Why was I, alas? With a long sigh, Lin Yuking looked at the ruins in front of him and waved his hand, saying, Zoomu, I don't think this gym battle is necessary. Your strength has been recognized by me. Here is the badge. After handing the speed badge to Zoomu, Lin Yuking now wanted this guy to leave quickly. The farther the better. This is definitely a disaster. Zoomu took the badge, put it in the box where the badges were stored, and scratched his head helplessly. He didn't want to do this either, but there was no way. Some people were born excellent, and the halo could not be covered. Big things will happen wherever you go, and this is inevitable. Thank you, Master Lin. After thanking Lin Yuking, Zoomu didn't waste any words, turned around and left, ready to go back to the hotel to rest, and then go to the next gym. There are about 100 gyms in the east, and Zoomu can only choose some big cities with airports or train stations, so that he can save a lot of time going back and forth. After dinner, Zoomu sent the 3 elves to the Alliance Center for treatment. Charizard naturally used the highest level medicine for injuries, and by the way enjoyed the top VIP treatment and a full body massage. Zoomu didn't feel bad about the money this time. He let Greninja and Dragonite enjoy it as Charizard enjoyed it. Elf Masser is a new profession. To be more precise, this profession should be called Elf Beautician. It is a branch of elf breeders. Mr. Zoomu, there is a call for you. While Zoomu was waiting for the treatment of the elves, a little nurse ran over with her head down. Zoomu was a little confused. Shouldn't the call be contacted directly? Why did they use the phone of the Alliance Center? Walking to the landline, Zoomu answered the call. Hello, this is Zoomu. Who are you? After a short silence, an old man's voice sounded on the other end of the phone. Hello, classmate Zoomu. I am the chief of Dongtu, Dao Yuang. Hearing this, Zoomyu's eyes were straight. The chief of Dongtu. What's the situation? It sounds quite polite. Hello. The other party gave face, and Zoomu was not a person who would take advantage of others. Chief of Dongtu is a famous figure, and Zoomu has heard of him a long time ago. Now that he had the chance to get to know them, Zoomu naturally took it seriously and didn't dare to be frivolous. Young man, I already know what happened to you today. The one who attacked you this time was an underground organization that has been developing in our east for 100 years, called Zhao. Zoomu frowned and didn't speak, waiting for Chief to continue. This Zhao has some origins with our family. The founder of Zhao was a traitor in our Zhao family. Dao Yuang said, laughing self-deprecatingly. It has been 10 years since Zhao was exposed this time. In the past 10 years, they have been gathering strength and hiding in the dark. I'm afraid they have accumulated a lot of strength. Zoomu, next you may need to take risks and lure these moles out. Zoomu still didn't speak, thinking quietly, waiting for Chief to continue. Seeing that Zoomu had been silent, Chiho immediately felt that this young man was quite cunning. He didn't release the eagle until he saw the rabbit. He is worthy of being called. Don't worry. This is a special S-level mission. The Alliance will give you the reward you deserve every time. This time, Gao's action team was arrested by you. We have decided to agree to a condition within the scope allowed by the rules. Gao Yuanyang did not tell Zhou what he would reward him with, but made a promise to him and let Zhou make his own conditions. This is a test for people. Within the scope allowed by the rules. How big is the scope allowed by the rules? Zhou thought about it and said slowly, I hope the Alliance can lift the limit of 6 Pokémons I can carry. This condition is a bit loose. Zhou is not a greedy person. After all, Gao's attack this time was his own fault. It has little to do with the Alliance. According to the regulations, the average rookie trainer can only have 6 Pokémons at most. If you want to have more Pokémons, you need to become a junior or intermediate trainer, etc. These things need to be assessed in the academy, and Zhou has no time to do them now. So if he wants to continue to capture Pokémons and expand the team, he can only use this special opportunity to get special approval from the Alliance. At the same time, Zhou also had a little idea. He was not talking about the number of Pokémons he owned, but the amount he could carry. Trainers can only carry 6 Pokémons at most, which is a rule that has been established by the Alliance for many years. On the one hand, this is to prevent trainers from carrying too many Pokémons and having difficulty in accurately training them. On the other hand, it is also to avoid the occurrence of large-scale battles. Imagine that 100 years ago, when there was no limit on the amount of Pokémons that could be carried, a trainer went out with dozens of Pokémons. When a fight broke out, it would be a fight of hundreds of Pokémons. TSK. So the Alliance's regulation of a carrying limit of 6 Pokémon still makes sense. Unless you become a being above the venerable, you will not break this rule. Zhou's conditions surprised Gao Yuanyang a little. This kid doesn't seem to know how to advance or retreat as others say. Okay, I can promise you this on behalf of the Alliance. Gao Yuanyang agreed very happily. At the same time, I will personally reward you with a cute little guy, and I hope you can treat him well. As he said, Gao Yuanyang sent a Pokeball through the transmission device. Zhou picked up the Pokeball and released the Pokémon inside. It was a small green frog, Bulbasaur. Don't underestimate him because he is small, but he is very powerful. I hope he can help you on your journey to becoming a trainer. Gao Yuanyang said, and without waiting for Zhou to thank him, he hung up the phone. Chapter 114. Greninja wants to become a leader. Zhou likes Pokémons, although he keeps saying that he doesn't want to be a trainer. That's just talk. Perhaps it's because of the helplessness of reality, or perhaps it's because of the charm of fighting. In short, Zhou has been tricked by the dog system. Now he has lifted the ban on the Pokémon he carries on his body, and got a new Pokémon, the garlic toad, Bulbasaur. To be fair, Zhou is still very happy. Of course, no matter how powerful Zhou is, what he wants to do most is always to travel around the world with his beloved girl. It's just that this goal cannot be achieved now. Without strong strength, Zhou can't protect his Pokémon and his beloved girl. After hanging up the phone, Zhou looked at the Pokeball of Bulbasaur and murmured, "Dog system, in fact, I would have taken this step sooner or later without you, right?" Gao Yuanyang, the chief of the East. Kyle, the chief of Western Europe. Now Zhou has met the people who are in the highest position of power in the entire alliance. This is not because of the existence of the system, but because of his mysterious life experience. Who is that cheap dad and what is his identity? He is a comrade in arms with Kyle. So what is the border, the king, the master, the head, the supreme, are not enough in the eyes of the cheap dad? What crisis is there in this world that makes these top figures so anxious? There are still too many unsolved mysteries. If I remember correctly, my mother should also be surnamed Zhao, right? Zhou is not stupid. He is not that kind of brainless guy. At the beginning of Meteor Falls, he dared to rely on the existence of the system to fight Lugia, not because of the top, but he was sure that Lugia could not kill him. Smart people will always become a madman when they are sure of the trump card. If you go crazy without a trump card, you are really crazy. Zhou is a smart man, So many things have become clear to him now after analyzing it like this. Liu Yang is probably related to his mother, and his mother. I'm afraid she is not as simple as an ordinary housewife. Putting his thoughts aside, Zhu Mu released the Bulbasaur. Hello, Bulbasaur, my name is Zhu Mu, and I will be your trainer from now on. Greeting Bulbasaur with a gentle smile, Zhu Mu secretly looked at the little guy. None of his Pokémon are normal guys. The belligerent and immature Blue Frog, the Charizard with a cautious personality, and the Hulk version of Dragonite, the foodie Arceus, the clingy Lugia, and the smallest and most arrogant Snorlax. This team is too difficult to lead. I hope this little guy is a guy with a good personality, otherwise, Zhu Mu secretly complained in his heart. Nay, hello Zhu Mu. Looking at Zhu Mu, Bulbasaur responded with full energy. Ding. Bulbasaur sign-in task has been opened, please check it yourself. The speed of the dog system is still very fast. Zhu Mu and Bulbasaur confirmed their relationship here, and the dog system completed the registration there. Pokémon, Bulbasaur, Attribute, Grass, Strength, Early stage of Quasi-King, Feature, Chlorophyll, Sunny Day Field, Double Speed, Skills, Chlorophyte Storm, Hardened Plants, Sunlight Blaze, Billion Absorption, Grass Oath. Sign-in mission. 1. Carry or use Bulbasaur to participate in a battle in Guangcheng, Bulbasaur Mega Evolution Stone. 2. Carry or use Bulbasaur to participate in a King-level battle, Would release Bloodline Limit. 3. Carry or use Bulbasaur to participate in a battle in the Northern 5 Provinces Rookie King League. Feature, Immune to all poisons. After taking a look at Bulbasaur's situation, Zhu Mu smiled helplessly. He always felt that he was arranged by the system. Tell me, if I complete the mission, will it help you to increase your performance? In a corner of the world, there is a group of systems like you, providing help to us time travelers. If we complete the mission, you can earn performance and improve yourself. It seems that it's really possible, Zhu Mu muttered, and the system did not respond. Seeing the dog system silent again, Zhu Mu stopped making random guesses. He bought some Pokémon food suitable for grass-type Pokémon with Bulbasaur and returned to the room. I will definitely go to the Northern 5 Provinces Rookie King League if the situation permits. But, is it inappropriate for me to bully weaklings like this? If I do this for a long time, people will suspect that I have a special hobby in this area. Zhu Mu looked at the map in distress. His next destination was Guangcheng, and Guangcheng was hosting the Northern 5 Provinces Rookie King League. Not everyone can participate in this competition. Certain special conditions must be met. First of all, the challenger must not be over 20 years old. This alone will exclude most powerful trainers. Later, the contestants must have at least one provincial honor. Otherwise they cannot register for the competition. Zhu Mu didn't care about these 2 points. Whether it was the previous Little God of War Cup or the National Rookie League, Zhu Mu had won a place. Cool, this competition can let the little guys practice. Greninja started talking. Seeing Zhu Mu studying the map by himself, Greninja couldn't help but stepped forward and began to give instructions. Sometimes, this guy is like a real trainer, guiding newcomers in training, helping them develop an interest in battles, arranging the positioning of the Pokémon in the team. In short, Greninja has done all the work of Zhu Mu as a trainer. Except for the battle, Zhu Mu has to command in person, and Greninja can arrange all other matters clearly. Of course, Zhu Mu, the shit shoveler, still has to do the food himself. Yes, then let Arceus, Lugia, Snorlax, and Bulbasaur be the participating Pokémon. Then for the gym battle, I'll trouble you 3. Trainers are a profession that is always improving. They don't have the peak of being alone. Some can only constantly conquer potential Pokémon and help Pokémon become stronger. Otherwise, there will always be only a few powerful Pokémon. What about the other Pokémon? Just like Zhu Mu now, if he keeps letting Greninja and the other 3 Pokémon with stronger strengths fight each other, then the other Pokémon will never have room to grow. Cool, no problem, no trouble. Greninja snapped his fingers, obviously expressing his appreciation for Zhu Mu, the puppet trainer, accepting his advice. Little brother, you are good, you know how to advance and retreat, and you are a qualified puppet. Zhu Mu was speechless, looking at the middle school Greninja, and thought helplessly, Since this guy learned ninjutsu, he is no longer satisfied with the fantasy of being a ninja, and now he wants to be a trainer. Chapter 115 Sirona returns. Speaking of loyalty, Zumu never thought that he was an infatuated person. It's the same now. When he sees a pretty girl, Zumu will habitually glance at her. There's no way. It's human nature to be a pervert. It's unrealistic for a man not to be lustful. However, this is indeed different for Sirona. To Zumu, Sirona is a very special existence. It's not an exaggeration to say that it was his dream. It's like you have liked a female star for many years, and suddenly one day she appears in front of you and falls in love with you. This feeling is very mysterious. So, it's not an exaggeration to say that he really likes her. Zumu never thought that he could meet this girl he really likes from the airport in Guangzhou. Sirona? Zumu looked at Sirona in surprise, wearing a black long windbreaker, and couldn't believe it. Long wavy hair like a waterfall, and a delicate face like a sculpture. This is definitely his fiancée. Yeah. With a slightly red face, Sirona lowered her head and stopped looking at Zumu. That's right. The shy Sirona is the girl of Zumu. Why are you here? Zumu asked softly, hugging Sirona. Sirona leaned her head on Zumu's shoulder and said in a mosquito-like voice, "Just come to participate in this rookie league and train the newly captured elves." Zumu smiled softly and said nothing more. He put his nose tip on Sirona's earlobe and felt her cool jade-like skin. Will there be no league in Western Europe? Training elves is still used in the East? This girl is so stupid. She doesn't say it directly when she thinks about it. Okay, then I'll decide the champion of this league for you. Zumu's words evoked Sirona's memories. In the little Aries Cup, Zumu took the initiative to admit defeat and pushed Sirona to the throne of the champion. Remember Zumu's words, "You will always be my champion." Sirona was almost moved to tears. Let's go to the Alliance Center to sign up, and then find a place to have a good chat. After all, the airport is a place where people come and go, so just hugging is fine. Being too intimate is not appropriate. Spreading dog food in public places is against the law of nature. Sirona nodded, indicating that she would listen to Zumu's arrangements. After leaving the airport, the two took a taxi directly to the Alliance Center. Why didn't you tell me that you were coming? You didn't tell me when I called yesterday. Zumu scratched Sirona's nose with a reproachful look and asked with a smile. Sirona pouted, showing the word cute perfectly. I just wanted to give you a surprise. Are you unhappy? Happy? How could I be unhappy? Zumu was so happy that his teeth almost fell out of his mouth. Who can not love such a treasure girl? Crossing thousands of mountains to see you, just for your happiness. Such dedication. How could Zumu not understand? Sirona, it's really thoughtful. The driver was fed with dog food by the sweet conversation between the two, and drove silently in the front seat without saying a word, afraid that a virus called love would infect him. After arriving at the Alliance Center, Zumu took Sirona to sign up for the competition. We can have a good stroll in Guangzhou these 2 days. This is a well-known ancient city with many historical relics. After saying this, Zumu regretted it. Historical relics are very valuable. If they are destroyed by me, then, the name of the Destruction Demon King is not for nothing. Zumu is now worried that if he successfully wins the title of Venerable in the World King Tournament, will he be named Destruction? Destruction Venerable? TSK. It sounds so stupid. Okay, I'll listen to you, but I want to eat ice cream. Okay, eat ice cream. Double servings. Talking and laughing, the two came to the service desk, took out their IDs, and started to sign up. Mr. Zumu, may I ask which Pokémon are you participating in the competition? Snorlax, Bulbasaur, Arceus, Lugia. Zumu handed the 4 Pokeballs to the staff for confirmation. After the background data confirmed the identities of the 4 Pokémon, Zumu was considered to have successfully signed up. The reason for the confirmation is to prevent cheating, to prevent contestants from using other people's elves to participate in the competition. Ms. Sirona, what is your elf? After Zumu successfully registered, the staff asked Sirona. Sirona's choice phobia did not occur this time. She quickly said, means, shark, ghost pot, Pokés. After Sirona's registration was over, Zumu said, have new partners? Sirona nodded. Well, Those who have just joined the team recently are all cute guys. Zumu smiled. Are they as cute as you? Hate. Seeing that Sirona was blushing because of his teasing, Zumu raised his head proudly, took her hand, and walked out of the Alliance Center. The registration was successful, so the next thing to consider was where to stay. Is there a villa here? Zumu thought of the villas that Sirona had to stay in various cities before, and asked habitually. There is no one this time. I don't know anyone in Guangcheng. Sirona answered seriously. Zumu was instantly tangled when he heard this. Is he going to take Sirona to stay in a hotel? Does that mean ... Wait. Sirona is not yet 18 years old? Although 16 years old is considered an adult in this world, Zumu is a time traveler after all. If he is asked to do that, he always feels a little guilty. Okay, no more hypocrisy. Zumu really didn't have that idea, mainly because he cherished Sirona too much. If it weren't for marriage, Zumu really didn't want to ruin that beauty in advance. Let's find a hotel. The Rose Hotel in Guangcheng is still very famous. Okay, I'll listen to you. Sirona, who was as slow as she was, had no resistance to staying in a hotel with Zumu, and she still looked obedient. Zumu was so tangled when he saw it. Don't, baby, if you do this, I'm afraid I can't suppress my little thoughts of committing a crime. You are so obedient. If I push you down, you won't resist at all. Okay, the preliminaries will start tomorrow. Let's go to Guangcheng's night market tonight. Guangcheng Guilin Road is where the night market is located. It is also an irresistible food street. Compared with the delicacies from high-end restaurants, Zumu thinks that Sirona still prefers this kind of street food. After all, this girl has never eaten the food from the food street since she was a child. This time, I will take her to broaden her horizons. Okay, then let's go to the hotel to put down the luggage first. Sirona is so obedient that it is simply outrageous. She has no objection to Zumu. Whatever you say is what I will just listen to it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116. The old pervert criticizes Bulbasaur. Although the age of the contestants is stipulated in this newcomer King League of the Northern 5 provinces, it still cannot guarantee that the strength of the contestants is at the same level. It is normal for the contestants to have uneven strengths due to family and background reasons. Standing in the preparation area, Zumu looked at the children around him speechlessly. Is it meaningful to participate in this kind of competition? This dog system is really a scam. Speaking of which, last night, licking his lips while talking to himself, Zumu's heart was agitated. Last night, he and Sirona didn't have anything inappropriate for children, just some small contact. As for what kind of contact, it is necessary to mention 404 and the great river crab beast. Buddha said, it cannot be said, it cannot be said. Katy dog, we must work hard. A little girl was stroking her Cardi dog at this time, with a smug look, which made Zumu speechless. This girl probably had good luck at home and won a small prize, so she came here to prepare for this competition. Alas, girl, society is dangerous, you may not understand. Sighing silently, Zumu released Bulbasaur, ready to cultivate feelings with this little guy. Although he is a newcomer, this little guy is obviously not afraid of strangers. The moment he saw Zumu, he rushed into Zumu's arms. Nay, good morning, Zumu. Zumu touched his raised forehead and smiled gently. This guy is really energetic. As for personality, Zumu is still quite fortunate that Bulbasaur doesn't seem to have any special hobbies, at least now he hasn't found anything different. It is considered a relatively, hey, where is the person? While thinking about it, Zumu lowered his head and found that the Bulbasaur in his arms was gone. Looking around, Zumu successfully found his prodigal elf in the little girl next to him. This guy is now rubbing in the little girl's arms with a heart-filled look in his eyes. Zumu's eyes were red instantly. What a thing, you can be so BT just because you are cute? Sorry, this is my Pokémon. Did I bother you? Zumu felt that he had received 1 billion points of critical damage. He didn't expect you to be such a green-skinned toad. However, As a trainer, Zoomu could only bite the bullet and go up to negotiate with the little girl. Zoomu's words made the confused little girl react, looking at the Bulbasaur who suddenly came to her arms and rubbed against her. The little girl first comforted the jealous Growlithe, and then said to Zoomu, "It's okay, this little guy is very cute." Zangna, "Yes, you are also very cute." Hearing the little girl praising herself, Bulbasaur, the LSP, raised his head shamelessly and followed suit. Zoomu slapped his forehead. It was amazing. None of his Pokémon are normal. This Bulbasaur, I must keep an eye on him later, and don't let him get into Shirona's arms. Okay, as long as you don't mind. Zoomu smiled awkwardly, and saw Shirona who was about to come over after the game, and was speechless again. Is it such a coincidence, this? How can I explain that it would be reasonable for me to use my elf to tease the young lady while Shirona was playing? Bulbasaur is an LSP. Will Shirona believe this reason? Well, my girlfriend is here. Let's not talk about it for now. Bulbasaur, let's go back. As an experienced LSP, Zoomu used his reaction ability to quickly teach Bulbasaur a lesson. It is definitely a good move to directly explain Shirona's identity to prevent Shirona from misunderstanding. Bulbasaur looked at Zoomu in a daze, and thought to himself, damn, we are in the same boat. Zoomu was speechless. Who the hell is in the same boat with you? Seeing Bulbasaur jumping back to his side, Zoomu hurriedly waved to the little girl and turned to Shirona. In the distance, Shirona saw all this. You know each other, as expected. Zoomu sighed. No matter how cute a girl is, she is a full-level expert in jealousy. However, it is impossible to test me. Zoomu smiled calmly and explained, she said Bulbasaur is cute and wanted to hug me, and I didn't feel embarrassed to refuse. Oh, Shirona nodded thoughtfully, indicating that she understood. Next time, don't hug anyone who wants to hug you. This makes me lose face. Do you understand? Pretending to be a reprimand, Zoomu held down Bulbasaur's head and ravaged it. LSP obviously understood what Zoomu meant, and hurriedly called out twice to show his cooperation. Then, he slowly looked at Shirona with his sinful eyes. Zanai, it hurts. Little sister, please hug me. Shirona was not experienced in the world, so she was naturally frightened by this Bulbasaur, and subconsciously bent down to hug this guy. At the critical moment, before Zoomu could make a move, Lucario suddenly appeared. Luca, we are all men. Don't think I don't know what you are thinking. This line seems unexpectedly familiar. Zoomu pouted secretly, but still gave a thumbs up to his childhood sweetheart Lucario. Okay, I feel relieved with you here. Sirona should not be deceived by other LSPs. Tone, good guy, are you going to compete with me? Bulbasaur saw that his conspiracy was exposed and immediately threatened fiercely. The basic cultivation of LSPs is not only to be sexy, but also to be green tea. Back then, Zoomu used his green tea skills to really teach Lucario a lesson. Now, I'm afraid Bulbasaur is also ready to follow suit. Stop, you have to be harmonious and can't quarrel. Sirona and I are engaged couples. We will all be a family in the future. Don't be so tense. Zoomu stepped forward, smiled gently, grabbed Lucario with one hand and Bulbasaur with the other. Use force secretly. I am the real actor. In front of me. Both of you brothers sit down. Come on, Lucario. Don't always look so serious. Meet Bulbasaur and shake hands. You too, Bulbasaur. Don't be so defensive. We are all good friends. Art Master Zoomu said with a smile, but he secretly thought in his heart, if you dare not cooperate, let the social frog teach you two brothers a lesson. Zonina. Zoomu, I didn't expect you to be such a trainer. Luca, don't be arrogant. I haven't agreed to your marriage yet. The two Pokémon shook hands harmoniously, but they said harsh words. Zoomu didn't care about the threats from his two younger brothers. He took Sirona's little hand and said to her, see, this is the on-the-spot ability of an excellent trainer. Chapter 117. The Bully Devil arrives. Women in love usually don't have enough IQ. There is nothing wrong with the saying that a lover sees beauty in everything. Seeing Zoomu resolve the conflict between the two Pokémon so easily and making Lucario, who had been with her since childhood, so obedient, Shirona couldn't help but sigh. Zoomu, you are really a natural trainer. Zoomu was speechless. Can I say that I was forced to be a trainer? Not long after, as the players entered the field one by one, it was time for Zumu to compete. Saying goodbye to Shirona, Zumu walked towards the player channel and came to the number 7 venue. Red side, Feng Cheng Zumu. Blue side, Yancheng Zhaosen. There is only one Pokemon that can be used, and the game begins. As the referee waved the flag, Zumu and the young man named Zhaosen released their Pokemon at the same time. Snorlax vs. Blaziken. Blaziken, the opponent doesn't seem to be that strong. Let's test it with the Bullet Fist first. Zhaosen should be the new generation of talent in Yancheng. Although Zumu had never seen him in the National League, just by looking at this elite peak Blaziken, Zumu could conclude that this young man has a future. Of course, the future is yours, and the present is mine. You are unlucky to meet me, Zumu. Kirby, are you blind to say that I am not strong? Maybe it is because he has been with Greninja for a long time recently, and the arrogant Kirby has now learned to talk trash, and he is going further and further on the road of being a troll. Kirby, Zumu, come on. Let's show this bastard what strength is. Weak chicken, dare to be presumptuous in front of me. Zumu was speechless. There were too many times of speechlessness on this day. Zumu felt that he would have to practice silent meditation sooner or later. There was no way. The Pokemon was too good, and he, as a trainer, was also helpless. Okay, I'll listen to you. Zumu sighed, and his eyes gradually became sharper. The battle has begun. So you can't mess around. No matter how weak the opponent is, you have to take it seriously. A lion fights a rabbit with all its strength. This is the truth that Trizzard taught Zumu, a trainer. Snorlax, puff your belly. After resisting a bullet punch from Flame Chicken, Snorlax used this self-damaging skill. Puff your belly, reduce your own physical strength and greatly increase your attack power. What kind of tactic is this? Is he going to kill my Flame Chicken with one blow? Zhaosen also knew the skill of puffing his belly. Seeing Snorlax's belly puffing up and his fighting spirit bursting, he immediately became alert. However, Zumu's next order completely opened Zhaosen's eyes. Snorlax, sleep. What the hell? The reinforcement is over. You don't attack, but choose to sleep? Funny. Even if your physical strength is restored, what's the matter? Be a living target for my Flame Chicken to hit. Zumu saw Zhaosen immediately ordered to attack, and he laughed immediately. Snorlax is arrogant, but he still has something. Apart from anything else, this kid can choose the skills to use in his sleep talk independently while sleeping. This alone crushes most of the Snorlax talent. This thing is really hard to explain. Snorlax, sleep talk. Use bodybuilding to strengthen. You must strengthen thoroughly. The bullet punch previously damaged Snorlax's physical strength, and the increase in the bulging belly was obviously not to the maximum extent. Zumu decided to use the skill of bodybuilding to completely increase Snorlax's physical attack to the extreme. After enduring a big word explosion from Blaziken, Snorlax completed the bodybuilding, and the physical attack was completely increased to the extreme. Then, Zumu smiled indifferently. Snorlax, come on, sleep talk. Use Tarzan pressure. Snorlax, who was sleeping, had a smile on his face, the same as Zumu's. Then he jumped high, fell from the air, and directly pressed Blaziken under him. Boom. Zumu looked at the dust on the ground and closed his eyes reluctantly. This time, Blaziken's small body might not be able to bear it. Blaze Chicken. Zhaosen was completely dumbfounded. So the strengthening flow can be played like this. Where did this god come from? With this move of bulging belly and talking in sleep, and the ability to specify the use of skills, Snorlax's strength has doubled out of thin air. How can this trainer come to this kind of rookie league to bully the weak? When Snorlax woke up and slowly raised his butt, Flame Chicken's eyes were already full of circles. He had no choice. Red side, Zumu wins. The referee was also secretly surprised. Is this kid crazy? Is he here to bully the weak? Although the players who can participate in the competition are all under the age of 20, looking at Zumu, the referee can't help but secretly wonder if this guy is hiding his age. On the side, the guest of this competition is the mayor of Yancheng, Lin Haiyuan. Thinking of the scene when Zumu fought Scarface Trizzard, Lin Haiyuan couldn't help shaking his head. This kid has the strength to fight against the master-level Pokemon, And he still comes to participate in this kind of competition. It's too much. There is really no bottom line for bullying the weak. In the future, when holding this kind of rookie league, we should consider excluding this kid. We can't let him bully the weak so unscrupulously. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the Snorlax sign-in mission. 3. Carry or use Snorlax to participate in a battle in the Northern 5 Provinces Rookie King League. Max level martial arts. Taikai. Snorlax sign-in mission has been completed. The mission has been updated. Please check it in time. Sign-in mission. Carry or use Snorlax to win a battle in the Xiaosheng Gym battle. Ninjutsu? Multiplication technique. Zoomu was already drunk. Snorlax knows martial arts, and even gods can stop him. Not only does he know martial arts, but the system also has to arrange ninjutsu for him. How do you let other trainers live? Taking back Snorlax, Zoomu shamelessly shook hands with Alsen. Alsen was shocked and didn't know what to say. This Zoomu must be a hidden master who came to this rookie league to bully the weak. Did he lose face? How is it? Did you win? Zoomu felt a little embarrassed when he saw Shirona looking at him with hope. If he lost this game, would he still have the face to see people? He never thought that with Zoomu's current strength, participating in this kind of rookie competition would be shameless. Ahem. Of course I won. Who am I? A super genius. Okay. With a dry cough, Zoomu put his arm around Shirona's waist and said with a sly smile, "This time, this genius trainer has decided to give the championship to you. How should you thank me?" Hearing Zoomu say this, Shirona thought of what happened last night. That affectionate kiss made Shirona blush instantly. "You are bad." With a coquettish voice, Shirona lowered her head and stopped talking. Lucario on the side was completely speechless. Zoomu, this bastard. He just took away his goddess like this. Bulbasaur looked calm. "Young man, you don't understand. We can't afford to offend an old pervert of Zoomu's level." Chapter 118. Come up and slap you in the face. Zoomu said he didn't feel any pressure in the qualifying round. Indeed, you can do the inhumane bullying. Whether it's Arceus or Lugia, they are all crushing in this level of competition. Even Bulbasaur, the quasi-king, can do it. Why can't they? By the way, don't be curious about the fact that Bulbasaur is the quasi-king. For details, just refer to Charmander. The only thing that Bulbasaur is better than Charmander is that he has a supreme father. Quasi-king, just a drizzle, nothing to be surprised about. Snorlax, tomorrow is the breakout match for the top 16. Be prepared. Zoomu rubbed Snorlax's big head and said with a smile, according to the rotation, today is the day for Snorlax to bully the weak. Lying on the ground lazily basking in the sun, Snorlax snorted calmly. Snorlax, got it? It's not a big problem. A group of young people, I can just hit them a few times. Snorlax has been so proud since he won the last game. Zoomu felt that the earth could not accommodate the sky. Okay, you are the boss. You are strong. Silently cooperating with this guy to show off, Zoomu sighed. He is really worthy of being my Pokémon. He has half the style of me when I was showing off. Seeing that this guy didn't want to move and wanted to lie down for a while, Zoomu didn't bother him anymore. Turning his head, he found Bulbasaur rubbing against a little girl's arms. Zoomu waved and asked this prodigal Pokémon to come back quickly. You only know how to take advantage of others every day. What else can you do as a Pokémon except rubbing? If you have the guts, you can fucking wait. Thinking of this, Zoomu was suddenly stunned. It seems that Bulbasaur has a skill called Vine Whip. I must check this guy's Vine Whip skill proficiency when I have the chance. If he is really proficient in Vine Whip, it would be terrifying to think about it. Tone, what's wrong? Zoomu. Bulbasaur, who was enjoying the softness in the arms of the young lady, was called back by Zoomu and asked with an unhappy face. Zoomu sighed. Sometimes he felt that he could no longer control these guys. Apart from fighting, he, as a trainer, could still be of some use. If he could be useful again, it would be cooking. It was really miserable. Nothing. You will be the first to fight tomorrow, and Snorlax will be the second. Get ready. This is your first battle. Hearing this, the dissatisfaction on Bulbasaur's face gradually turned into solemnity. Indeed, the first game must be taken seriously. Zone, Seed. I know. I will adjust to my condition, and I will definitely win the first victory tomorrow. Zoomu saw that this guy was determined, so he was relieved without saying much. Seeing Bulbasaur jumping away, Zoomu also breathed a sigh of relief. It doesn't matter whether to adjust the condition or not, as long as this guy doesn't take advantage of him outside and embarrass himself. Thinking of this, Zoomu raised his head and looked into the distance. Oh my god! Zoomu's jaw almost dropped after exclaiming, what this guy said about adjusting the state is to take advantage of it. Good guy, you also know how to combine work and rest. The next day, the game started. After Zoomu said goodbye to Shirona, he walked towards the player channel alone. Zoomu was almost enjoying the happy life of living with Shirona these days. Although nothing substantial happened, it was just a little advantage, and the old boy Zoomu was already very excited. To be honest, Zoomu was comfortable, but little Zoomu was very uncomfortable. Those who understand will understand, so let's not say much. Let's watch the game. The two sides are the red side, Zoomu from Fengcheng, and the blue side, Atai from Heij. There are commentators in the main competition. As Zoomu and his opponent Atai entered the field, the commentator also began to talk endlessly. First, let us introduce the red player, Zoomu. This player is the runner-up of the Little Aries Cup and the champion of this year's National High School Rookie League. His strength should not be underestimated. It is said that he has defeated top trainers. You know, Zoomu is only 16 years old this year. He has only had his Pokémon for less than 3 months. He is a genius among geniuses, and he can defeat top trainers at the age of 16, which means that Zoomu is already qualified to participate in the King of Kings challenge. Let us look forward to Zoomu, this rising star, slowly rising and blooming in this world. The commentator is definitely a hire hired by Zoomu. Now, in Atai's mind, there is only this one thought. This commentator might be a relative of Zoomu. You introduced my opponent like this. What about me? Can you please mention me? Do you think I don't exist? Roaring in his heart, Atai was on the verge of going berserk. What does this commentator mean? What's wrong? Did Zoomu give you money? Ahem. Let's get to know the blue team's Atai. After waiting for a long time, Atai saw that the commentator finally mentioned him, and he straightened his back immediately. He also tidied his hair. Then, Atai is the consecutive champion of the Heij Elf Swimming League, and his strength is also excellent. The competition will officially begin next. Let us witness this wonderful battle together. One sentence. Atai was completely dumbfounded. Zoomu has so many words, but I have only one sentence. You might as well not say anything. After saying this, I am even more embarrassed. In fact, Atai really blamed the commentator for this matter. The reason why the commentator was crazy about Zoomu was not because he was Zoom's relative, nor because he received Zoom's black money. It was mainly Lin Haiyuan's order. According to Lin Haiyuan, Zoomu is too strong and it is easy to cause a blow to the young people of the new generation. So before the game, the commentator was asked to say more about Zoomu so that Zoom's opponents could be mentally prepared in advance. That's it. Go. Arcanine, Bulbasaur. Fight. Both sides released their first Pokémon at the same time. After seeing their opponents, Artist almost laughed out loud. He had also seen Zoomu's matches before. Whether it was Arceus, the harmless-looking little guy, or Lugia, the mythical beast cub, their fighting power made Artist feel powerless. But now, Zoomu must be crazy. He actually sent Bulbasaur to fight his Arcanine. Ha 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 ha. Zoomu, I'll give you a chance. You can change your Pokémon now. How about it? Seeing Artist laughing so happily, Zoomu felt relieved. Some people are born to be slapped in the face. If you don't hit them, they will take the initiative to come up and hit you. Chapter 119, Super Second Generation Green Toad. Bulbasaur was a little upset when he saw that he was being looked down upon. Tone, Zoomu, I'm going to be serious. Zoomu was a little confused when he heard Bulbasaur say that. How to say serious? What does it mean to be serious? The next action of Bulbasaur gave Zoomu the answer. He stared at the windy dog in front of him and used a vine whip to take out the yellow energy crystal from the seed on his back. This is a miracle seed, which can enhance the power of the grass-type skills of the Pokémon he carries. Fuck. The purity of this miracle seed is more than 90%. Zoomu was not too surprised when he saw the miracle seed. But when the sun flashed and the light reflected from the miracle seed hit Zumu's eyes, Zumu was completely dumbfounded. My goodness, such a small piece of miracle seed is enough to replace Zumu's current entire family property. This is really inhumane. It's inappropriate to take out such an expensive Pokémon item casually. However, even more inhumane is still to come. Bulbasaur still looks very serious about his first battle. It was not enough to put the miracle seed on his forehead. He used the vine whip to search inside his seed and took out an insurance. Weakness insurance. When the weakness is targeted, the attack and special attack will be greatly improved. This is not enough. Bulbasaur's arming continues. Grass Gem. A grass-attributed gem. After carrying it, the power of grass-attributed moves will only increase once. Seeing this, Zumu was completely dumbfounded. Originally, after returning from the gathering in the 5 northern provinces, Zumu thought that he was a local tyrant with some achievements. But now compared with Bulbasaur, Zumu is a scum. This guy is worthy of being the son of the chief's main elf. With this financial resources alone, no elf dares to say that he can compete with Bulbasaur in terms of wealth. Bulbasaur continued. No matter how confused Zumu, Ahau and the referee on the scene were, he just focused on arming himself with the outerwear. Light stone. A very light stone. After carrying it, the weight of the elf will become lighter. Concave and convex helmet. After the Pokémon carries it, it can inflict damage to the opponent when it is attacked by a strike move. After taking out these 2 items, Bulbasaur paused, as if remembering something, and took out a huge rhizome that was bigger than his body from the small seed. This scene made Zumu a little suspicious. Is the seed behind Bulbasaur similar to Doraemon's pocket, giant rhizome? After carrying it, moves that absorb HP can restore more HP than usual. After arming himself from head to toe to the teeth, Bulbasaur finally felt relieved and turned his head to look at Zumu with difficulty. Tone, it's time to start. Zumu felt that he had lost his ability to speak at this moment. He was now frantically restraining himself and resisting the urge to sell Bulbasaur. This huge rhizome is almost 10 times the size of the normal items used by other Pokémon. What's the concept? The king of rhizomes? Enough, Bulbasaur. You rich and inhumane LSP, you are so dirty. Can you still use your skills now? Zumu was almost speechless. Didn't this guy know that in a formal competition, a Pokémon can only carry 1 item? If he secretly put it in the seed, no one would know about it, and it might not be a big problem. But now, this guy took out all of the items in public. Isn't that a blatant foul? Before Ahau could protest, Zumu ran up and patiently explained to Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, you can't use all of these items in the competition. You can only use one of them. Pick which one you want, and I'll keep the rest for you. Zumu slowly approached Bulbasaur with a harmless smile and told him the rules. Bulbasaur was a little depressed when he heard this, but thinking of his own strength, it should be no problem to deal with this puppy, so he could only choose to keep the miracle seed, and then take off the other items and give them to Zumu. When Zumu turned around with these items and walked towards the trainer's command area, Bulbasaur seemed to understand. Damn, it seems to have been deceived. It seems that Zumu is just coveting these props of mine. He definitely did it on purpose. A sense of foreboding rose in Bulbasaur's heart. He felt that these props left by his father might not be available to him from today on. Bulbasaur, overwhelmed with grief, almost cried out loud. Trusted the wrong person. Zumu didn't expect that Bulbasaur was so young, and he got these props with just a few words. This feeling is so cool. The assets doubled instantly, isn't it? Zumu, who almost laughed out loud, pretended to be calm and walked to his command area. Turning around, he found that Bulbasaur was looking at him pitifully, and Zumu smiled indifferently. This trick may work on young girls, but it won't work on me. Fake crying? It's useless even if you really cry. With a cold snort, Zumu said, Don't worry, I'm just keeping them for you temporarily. I'm your trainer, you belong to me. Aren't your props also my props? They can't be lost. I will definitely keep an eye on them and protect them as if they were something more important than my life. Bulbasaur still had little social experience, and for some reason, he actually believed what Zumu said. In fact, Zumu was just making a fuss with him. and he couldn't really sell those rare props for money. There was no way. Although Zumu was not a saint, he still had human nature. Zumu couldn't do such a thing to pit his own elves, and he would never do it. As for his deliberate deception of Bulbasaur, it was actually a temporary impulse, wanting to tease the little guy for fun. Bulbasaur believed Zumu's lies, naively thinking that Zumu was really keeping them for him temporarily, and looked at Arcanine again. Bulbasaur was already ready for battle. Seeing this, Zumu didn't waste any more words. Playing is playing. Don't joke about fighting. Bulbasaur, go ahead. Chlorophyte Storm. Use the ultimate move right at the start. Zumu is so irritable. Bulbasaur was also ready long ago. At Zumu's command, he directly controlled the whirlwind, sweeping up the leaves condensed by the power of the grass type, slowly forming a huge Konoha tornado. Well, it's Chlorophyte Storm. Boom. A loud noise that shook the earth. According to Zumu's estimation, Arcanine's resistance to grass-type skills may not be able to kill it instantly with this attack. He quickly ordered, keep attacking. Bulbasaur, harden the plants, and then Sunblaze. On the other side, Aha froze when he heard Zumu's order. No, this is not the way to play it, right? Chapter 120, Taikai Kirby shows his power. Bulbasaur used its absolute strength to crush the opponent's Arcanine. With a set of high-powered skills, Arcanine was still unable to resist even with attribute resistance, and fell directly, no longer able to fight. Seeing Arcanine being killed instantly, Aha was stunned. Is this Bulbasaur? My Bulbasaur is not as strong as you, right? Where did this monster come from? Did it grow up eating Kinkala? Aha was shocked, took a deep breath, and began to think about the next Pokémon to fight. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the Bulbasaur sign-in mission. 1. Carry or use Bulbasaur to participate in a battle in Guangcheng. Reward Bulbasaur Mega Evolution Stone. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the Bulbasaur sign-in mission. 3. Carry or use Bulbasaur to participate in a battle in the Northern 5 Provinces Rookie King League. Bulbasaur gains the characteristic immune to all poisons. Zumu didn't care about that and took back the Bulbasaur. This little guy had just used so many powerful skills, and his physical strength must have been depleted. There was no need to force him to fight the next game now. After all, Snorlax has been waiting for a long time, so we can't favor one over the other. Snorlax, it's your turn. Snorlax, time for the massacre. I don't know where he learned the lines from. Snorlax roared after his appearance and set his sights on his opponent, Aha, waiting for Aha to release his own Pokémon. Seeing Zumu taking back the freak-like Bulbasaur, Aha breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, as long as the opponent is not Bulbasaur, I am not afraid of anyone. Cheer myself up secretly in my heart, Aha decided to release his original Pokémon to fight this game. Go, Nidoking. As a family of ordinary people, Aha can achieve his current results by his own acquired efforts. The family does not help him much. More often, Aha is working hard on his own to improve his abilities through his own talents. However, this ridiculous thing called talent is not only possessed by him. Zumu also has it, and Zumu not only has talent, but also many things that Aha does not have. For example, a biological father of unknown origin, a biological mother who looks ordinary but has a strong story, and a gold-fingered dog system. These are all things that Aha never had, so Aha wanted to compete with Zumu head-on, which was simply a case of hitting a rock with an egg. Nido, the battle will never end. After Nidoking appeared, he also had his own slogan. With a loud roar, Nidoking began to observe his opponent. After seeing Snorlax, Nidoking snorted coldly. The meaning is very simple. I can beat 10 of this guy. Aha was stunned. Seeing Nidoking so confident, his confidence that had just been broken by Bulbasaur was instantly restored. Go, Nidoking, let the opponent see our strength. With a loud roar, Aha was also full of blood, waving his fists and commanding. Nidoking did not hesitate at all. Aha said to fight, so let's fight. Nido, with an earthquake move, Nidoking released almost all his strength. In an instant, the entire stadium shook. The power of the earthquake was obvious. However, Zumu and Snorlax stood in place, seemingly without any intention of taking any action. Snorlax sat on the ground as steady as a rock, not affected by the earthquake at all. Snorlax, that's it? Snorlax yawned, and after the earthquake was over, he looked at Nidoking in confusion. You're just like that, aren't you? Nidoking was also dumbfounded, rubbing his eyes, looking at Snorlax in disbelief. This guy is actually fine? Snorlax, okay, it's my turn to perform, Snorlax said lazily, and slowly stood up. He first moved his limbs, then shook his belly 3 circles to the left and 3 circles to the right, and then looked at Nidoking eagerly. Nidoking, he is a normal type. We use fighting type skills, close combat. How is not a novice? Naturally he knows the principle of attribute restraint. Seeing that Snorlax's strength seems to be equally not to be underestimated, he quickly changed his tactics. Nidoking heard that it made sense, and quickly took action. Using close combat instantly, a layer of red light began to emerge on the surface of his body, and he rushed towards Snorlax like a chariot. Zumu smiled when he saw this. Snorlax also smiled. Little brother, you may not know that there is a martial art called Tai Kai. Snorlax did not have any defense and let Nidoking rush in front of him, and then started to attack crazily at close range. Due to his height, Nidoking's attack could only hit Snorlax's belly. But it just so happened that Snorlax's belly was the part where he was most proficient in using Tai Kai. Great hit. Seeing that Snorlax was so arrogant that he did not dodge or evade and let Nidoking attack, Aha was overjoyed and jumped and shouted. Nidoking also snorted coldly. Bastard, I let you underestimate me. Now I'll show you how powerful I am. Hey, look at my left hook, right hook, flying knee, whip horn. Hey, I'll beat you to death. He kept shouting in his heart, and after Nidoking used a set of small combos, he was surprised to find that Snorlax did not move at all. Not only that, his attack seemed to be hitting a ball of air, without any feeling of force. But, I clearly attacked this guy. Why is it as if he didn't exist, without feeling that I hit him at all? Nidoking was confused. This was the first time he was so confused since he was born. What is this? What happened? Is this Snorlax a ghost type and immune to fighting type attacks? Snorlax snorted coldly, and when Nidoking found out, he sneered and said, Snorlax, little brother, is that all? Use some force. Don't tickle me like this. The more you tickle, the more itchy it gets. Can you do it? The masseurs on the street are better than you. With your strength, you still come to fight. Go home and find a class. Don't come here to embarrass yourself. The way of Tai Kai is not to attack actively, but to kill people and destroy their hearts. Snorlax obviously understood this. Before fighting back, he first used trash talk to completely defeat Nidoking's mentality. Nidoking was sprayed with no power to fight back. He stared at Snorlax in a daze, not knowing what to say for a while. You will regret not having studied hard enough when you need it. Only when you are swearing at each other will you feel regret for not studying hard enough. Nidoking is now regretting so much in his heart. If he had known, he would not have come to participate in this competition. Thinking back to when he was still humming in his heart just now, Nidoking now wishes he could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. He has no face to live. This Snorlax knows martial arts, and even gods can stop him. Okay, stop teasing him. Use Taishan and send him home. Zumu spoke up. Seeing that Nidoking was so autistic that he gave up resistance, he couldn't help but feel distressed. To be honest, it's a good thing that Snorlax is his own Pokémon. Otherwise, with such a big cheater who knows Tai Chi, Zumu himself wouldn't know how to break the deadlock. This Snorlax is simply unsolvable. Chapter 121 Dragonite's Backup Counterattack. Both Pokémons of Aha on the blue team have lost their ability to fight. The red team wins. The referee gave an order and announced the end of the game. Aha was finally free. After taking Nidoking back into the Pokeball, he turned around and left without saying a word. The pace of the game in the Northern 5 Provinces League is still very fast. Zumu can't afford to waste time now. If the newcomer League of the Northern 5 Provinces really drags on for 10 days or half a month, Zumu may not come. The match from the top 16 to the top 8 and the match from the top 8 to the top 4 were held together for 2 days. The semi-finals and finals that followed took only 1 day, divided into the morning and afternoon. Such a fast game system is all due to the excellent medical level of this world. Zumu didn't know why, but he felt that the medical level of this world seemed to be higher than that of the anime world in his memory. Moreover, Zumu still didn't know why Shyarona appeared here and whether other anime characters appeared. Hey, Shyarona, is Kyle your real father? Thinking of this, Zumu asked casually. He didn't mean any harm, he just felt that Kyle didn't look that good. How could he give birth to such a beautiful girl like Shyarona? When Shyarona was asked this by Zumu, she was stunned and a panicked look appeared on her face. She stammered, "Why do you say that? Of course my father is my father." This little girl, she can't lie at first glance. Seeing her like this, Zumu guessed something immediately. That's good. She's not a biological child. Then I feel much more relieved. This proves that there is only one anime character like Shyarona in the world. As for whether there are other ones, Zumu estimated that there shouldn't be. Anyway, take it one step at a time. In fact, Zumu was a little confused by this sudden crossing. Don't let me in the afternoon finals. Let's have a good fight. Changing the subject abruptly, Shyarona pouted her face and said unyieldingly. Seeing this, Zumu chuckled, rubbed Shyrona's hair lovingly, and said slowly, "Okay, I'll listen to you." In the quarterfinals and semifinals, Zumu swept all the way. Relying on the excellent performance of the 4 Pokémon, Zumu did not feel any pressure. To be honest, bullying the weak can no longer satisfy Zumu. What Zumu wants is the excitement of fighting with the strong. Well, fighting is really addictive. Even if Zumu shouted that he would not be a trainer before, he couldn't help but say that it smells really good now. Maybe he is a natural trainer. On the battlefield, Zumu and Shyarona faced each other. I don't know if it was a coincidence or a deliberate arrangement. Anyway, this time, Zumu and Shyarona met again on the stage of the finals. Similarly, Shyarona was still like last time, and she refused to admit defeat and asked Zumu to fight to the end. Go. Melodic. The lily melodic that was captured in Meteor Falls last time. Shyarona has already developed a basic tacit understanding with her during this period of time. When fighting, they can also cooperate with each other. She is now a more reliable fighting force for Shyarona. Seeing Shyarona using melodic, Zumu was not polite. Dragonite. Showtime. Zumu didn't say anything else, and directly called out Dragonite. Come on. Your goddess is here. Oh my, goddess. The moment he saw melodic, the eyes of the dog-licking Dragonite instantly turned into peach hearts. At the critical moment, Zumu coughed dryly and reminded Dragonite, "No, I must remain cool. The goddess doesn't like to lick dogs. I absolutely can't be a lick dog." According to Zumu, we haven't seen each other for so long. This time I have to act cooler and pretend that I am no longer interested in her. Thinking of this, Dragonite changed his face instantly, and changed his eyes from peach hearts back to the original green bean eyes. There was a little more fighting spirit in his eyes, and he was extremely cool. It's just that his silly appearance as a yellow fat man seems to have reduced some points, and did not achieve the effect that Zumu imagined. But that's enough. At least now Dragonite has changed on the surface. What I have to do next is to defeat the goddess head-on and not give her a chance. It's a woman's nature to like strong men. I want to become a strong man in the eyes of the goddess and give her a feeling that she can rely on. In this way, I have a chance to turn her gay and make her like male elves again. Thinking of Zumu's earnest lecture to him last night, Dragonite's heart became more determined. This time, I can't lose. Okay, Dragonite. We attack first, use speed to get close to melodic, and then use lightning fist. Zumu saw that Dragonite had adjusted his mentality and gave orders directly. In front of the goddess, it is a bit too inappropriate to use skills like reverse scale and violent beat that are not graceful and cool. Now Dragonite is more suitable to use some skills that can show his masculine charm. Since melodic is a face control, let's show Dragonite's cool side. Close range 100,000 vodka thunder. Before Dragonite got close to melodic, Zumu continued to give orders. Wouldn't close range thunder and 100,000 volts hurt him? Dragonite hesitated subconsciously, but thinking that Zumu was his trainer, Dragonite became firm. Just do it. Mean Chow. Mystic Guard. Liquid Circle. Min Xiao has a high special resistance, and is almost a special defense player in the game. And her recovery skills have become a super nightmare in the eyes of many players. At the moment, Shyarona is preparing to use the recovery float tactic. Liquid Circle restores health, Mystic Guard increases resistance, and then uses Dragon Dance to continuously strengthen, and when in danger, use a self-recovery. It can be said to be unsolvable. However, this tactic is good, but it's a pity that Shyrona's opponent is Zumyu. How could Zumyu allow such a popular tactic to show himself? He chuckled immediately, and then, let's enjoy Dragonite's performance. Dragonite carries the power of thunder, and the lightning flashes in his hands. After approaching Min Xiao at a rapid speed, he did not rush to blast out the lightning fist. Instead, he used 100,000 volts and thunder on the spot. The target of the two electric skills was not Melodic, but his own hands that were gathering lightning. Dance in the thunder. Dragonite used Dragon Dance. Enduring the baptism of the power of thunder, Dragonite looked calm, slowly danced the mysterious Dragon Dance, and began to strengthen himself. Even though his hands were numbed by the electric energy and even lost consciousness, Dragonite still did not relax at all and completed Zumyu's instructions meticulously, because, he heard Zumyu say, "This move, once completed, is so handsome that it will definitely subdue Melodic, because this move is called Thunder X." You can guess the word at the end. Chapter 122 Dragonite's Rakiri. When countless electric currents gathered on Dragonite's hands, the electric sparks began to rub and collide violently. A sharp sound like a bird's cry was emitted. This move was the famous skill of the two pillars, Chidori, also known as Rakiri. Fatty Huang stood in the thunder and lightning that frightened Min Xiao. The whole elf was as majestic as a god, looking down at Min Xiao's every move. As Min Xiao looked up, he slowly moved. Thunder Fist. Min Xiao closed her eyes in fear, waiting for this powerful thunder and lightning fist to come. Boom! A huge explosion sounded, and Min Xiao strangely did not feel any pain in her body. She opened her eyes carefully, only to see Dragonite blasting a huge hole in the ground in front of her. And Dragonite, at this time, was kneeling on one knee, standing in the middle of the hole, keeping the posture of punching, motionless. A little handsome, Min Xiao only felt that her heart was hit by a heavy hammer, beating bang bang. She couldn't explain her complicated feelings now. It was obvious that Melodic had no interest in male creatures. But for some reason, at this moment, Melodic felt as if his heart was moved. Zumyu smiled proudly. Dragonite was a fool. Besides studying, he was fighting. He was not good at chasing girls. In fact, it was not difficult to chase a girl like Melodic who was obsessed with looks, as long as you could grasp the key points. Starting from emotions, and then gradually from the image, you can turn her into a lesbian little by little. What's fun about two girls together? How can the friction on the edge be as exciting as a real battle? Don't you think so? Ouch! I don't want to hurt you. Admit defeat. When Dragonite said this, he almost forced himself to say it. After all, the Rakiri move was not arranged for him by the system, but was created by Zumyu after many simulations. The power of this move looks very huge, but at the same time, the strong backlash will also cause huge damage to the Pokémon used. Dragonite now doesn't look like it has any major problems, but in fact, he has been hit once by his own 100,000 volts and Thunderbolt, which have caused him full damage. Enduring the severe pain, Dragonite remembered what Zumyu said: the ending is the most important. Everything before can only be regarded as a foreshadowing. The ending must be cool, and must capture the heart of Melodica, making her curious and interested in him. Dragonite left this sentence, and never looked at Melodica again. He resisted the reluctance and turned away gracefully, leaving Melodica with a cold back. Dragonite didn't fly, but walked back to Zumyu step by step. He walked very slowly. It seemed that he was reluctant to leave, but with a hint of ruthlessness. This is the effect Zumyu wanted. Melodica must not have the illusion that Dragonite is the sky and cannot be reached. While being cool, it also makes Melodica recall the bits and pieces of their previous experiences, so that she will take the initiative to miss the past. Walking slowly, but not looking back, it shows that Dragonite is no longer the same as before. The punch was not on Melodic, but on the ground. In addition to taking care of Melodic, it was also a statement: you are no longer on the same level as Dragonite. Considering the way Dragonite left at the end, Zumu's series of plans are linked together. Melodic stared at Dragonite leaving, and her mind really recalled the time when she was in Meteor Falls, when the silly yellow fat man came to give her delicious food every day, and taught her to dance and make her happy. At the moment when her eyes blurred, Melodic felt that the Dragonite in front of her seemed not to be the same Dragonite as before. However, it seemed as if there was some magic, and every move could attract her attention. She wanted to ask Dragonite not to leave, and wanted to say hello like an old friend. Melodic opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Frightened by Dragonite's attack, she was unable to fight back. Now she seemed unworthy of reminiscing with this old friend. Zumu looked at Melodic's eyes, which changed from shock to loneliness, and then to loss. He smiled. The plan was implemented perfectly. Dragonite's backup counterattack won the first battle. After hesitating for a while, the referee slowly said, Chirona's Melodica and Zumu's Dragonite have both lost their will to fight. Please send out your second Pokémon. The referee obviously knew that the two players in today's finals were very unusual. Based on the principle of not offending both, he chose this way of penalty. Chirona did not accept the referee's penalty. Zumu's Dragonite clearly did not lose the ability to continue fighting, so why was it also out? However, Zumu looked indifferent. The biggest purpose of Dragonite's battle was for Melodica. Now that their plan was successful, the win or loss of this battle did not matter. Besides, Zumu did not want to win Chirona in the first place, so whether Dragonite lost the qualification to fight was not a big problem. No need to continue. I admit defeat. Zumu raised his eyebrows, looked at Chirona who was about to speak and argue with the referee, and quickly took the initiative to admit defeat. Zumu, you admit defeat again? Seeing Zumu repeating his old trick and giving her the championship again, Chirona was instantly unhappy. She pouted and looked at Zumu. Her two big eyes looked aggrieved as if she could shed a few tears at any time. She looked like I would cry if you don't explain it to me. Zumu was so upset when he saw this. How could Chirona, who hasn't grown into a queen yet, be so pitiful? I can't take it anymore. I love her so much. Help. Even Zumu, an old driver, was still speechless when facing Chirona posing like a little girl. Who can stand this? If your girlfriend was so cute, you wouldn't know how to argue with her. After thinking for less than 3 seconds, Zumu raised his head, looked at Chirona calmly, and said slowly, didn't I say that you are the girl who will be my future wife, and I will only let you win willingly in my life? Whether it is on the court or in life, losing to you is my greatest luck. As he said that, Zumu strode to Chirona, regardless of the referee who looked confused, and the commentator who didn't know how to explain. Holding Chirona's hand, the two looked at each other and smiled knowingly. Are you ready, friends? Dog food is coming. Eye to eye, affectionate muah. The relationship between Zumu and Chirona, at this moment, was completely open to the public. Snap! With a crisp sound, Kyle threw his phone to the ground in frustration. The quality of the phone is good and it was not broken. The screen clearly played the picture of Zumu and Chirona affectionate muah. Obviously, Kyle has been watching the live broadcast of the game. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 Guangcheng Gym, Angry Kyle. After leaving the competition, Zumu and Chirona took the championship and runner-up trophies and went all the way to the Kanai Gym in Guangcheng. Li Kanai, the owner of the Kanai Gym, is a gym trainer specializing in grass type. After hearing the news that Zumu came to Guangcheng, the nearly 50-year-old old man prepared his 3 strongest males. He was ready to suppress the limelight of Zumu, a young junior, and protect the badge of his own gym. As a result, he really didn't expect that Zumu, the big devil, would not be able to come alone. He actually attracted a top big shot, the chief of Western Europe Kyle. Kyle originally acquiesced to Chirona's behavior of looking for Zumu, If he hadn't nodded, Sharona would not have come out, but he didn't expect that Zumu was too much. He actually had a muah with Sharona in front of so many people. What does this make real Father Kyle think? You have lived together for the past 2 days. Did something that shouldn't have happened happen? As a daughter slave, Kyle naturally brought his own land shark and flew directly from Western Europe. He was going to teach Zumu, the little bastard, a lesson, let him know that he was Sharona's biological father after all, and he should not bully Sharona when they were together in the future. So, there was the current scene. Lee Kanai, who was about to have a gym battle with Zumu, looked blankly at Kyle, who was furiously falling from the sky. The roof of Kanai's gym was directly hit by the strong attack of the Lee-biting land shark, and a big hole was knocked out. Lee Kanai was heartbroken, but he dared not speak out. Everyone said that Zumu was poisonous, but he didn't believe it, thinking that it was a rumor spread by several gym trainers before. As a result, now, after witnessing Zumu's toxicity with his own eyes, Lee Kanai believed it. Zumu. Kyle didn't even look at Lee Kanai, who saluted him, and rushed directly to Zumu. Seeing Zumu naturally holding Sharona's little hand at this time, Kyle was even more angry. Let go. With a loud shout, Kyle stared at the two people's tightly clasped hands, looking like he was going to break up the couple. Zumu swallowed his saliva. He knew that Kyle, a daughter slave, must be secretly monitoring him and Sharona. Sure enough, just after Mu'ah, people came directly from Western Europe to kill. Old thing, what a thief. He was secretly unhappy in his heart, but after all, he was his father-in-law, so Zumu couldn't say anything, so he could only smile and say, "No, not me." Since becoming the chief, Kyle has rarely been rejected. Hearing Zumu's words suddenly, Kyle's temper couldn't help it at that time. Good boy. You have become too strong and have forgotten the fear of being dominated by me. You dare to shout at me without the strength of the Supreme? Angrily, Kyle stepped forward and prepared to take Sharona's little hand from Zumu. At the critical moment, an old voice appeared. There was a crisp sound on the roof of the Kanai dojo, and a brand new hole appeared. A giant golden monster descended from the sky, and standing on its back was an old man with an old face. Stop. Although he had a head full of white hair, the old man's voice was full of energy, and the two words he said were resounding. Obviously, the person who came was not an ordinary person. Uncle Jean, why are you here? Kyle saw the person clearly and was stunned. What's going on? Why did the Chief of the East come here in person? It seems that he is similar to himself, and they all came here on a whim with the elves. That's right, the person who came was the Chief of the East. The old man who gave Zumu the Bulbasaur before. Dao Yuang. Why, our young man from the east is in love with your daughter, and you, as a father, don't agree. Dao Yuang did not answer Kyle's question, but asked Kyle a question instead. Kyle was stunned. I should have thought of it earlier. So you are. After just a moment of distraction, Kyle guessed the cause and effect, shook his head and smiled bitterly. Uncle Jean, this is wrong. We are both fathers. Didn't you also intervene in your daughter's marriage? They are all chiefs, and Kyle is no pushover. Seeing that Zhao Yuanyang was coming with a fierce attitude to protect his shortcomings, he simply had no scruples and directly brought up the things that happened in the past. He slapped Zhao Yuanyang in the face. Zumu and Sharona were confused. Zumu had never met Zhao Yuanyang, the chief of Dongtu, and they had only talked on the phone once. He didn't expect him to show up at this time. From the looks of it, it seemed that he came here specifically to help Zumu. Sharona looked at Kyle with some concern. On one side was Zumu, and on the other was her father who raised her since she was a child. Sharona, who already had difficulty making choices, found it too difficult. HMPH, that was then, and this is now. What time is it now? I'm not saying anything bad about you, Kyle boy. You have to look forward. You can't just stay in the past, otherwise, you won't live clearly enough. Dao Yuanyang said this with a seniority. His turbid eyes burst into a sharp light, staring at Kyle fiercely. It seemed that if this guy dared to continue talking about the past, he would tear him to pieces. Seeing that Dao Yuanyang was hinting at him, Kyle knew he couldn't say anything more, so he quickly changed the subject. I'm taking my daughter home. Do you have to control this? Uncle Jean. Seeing Kyle say this, Zhao Yuanyang's anger also dissipated by half. Looking at Zoom Yu, he slowly said, "There's nothing I can do about this. The father is taking his daughter home, and I can't control it." Zoom Yu pouted, knowing that this would happen. "Kyle, old thief, I'll remember you. Isn't it the Supreme, King of Heaven, Master, Supreme, haha, as a time traveler with a golden finger, I will sooner or later pin you to the ground and hammer you. It's really hard to date your girl," he cursed in his heart, but he looked well behaved and sensible on the surface, helping Shirona to tidy up the messy hair on her temples. Zoom Yu said, "Be obedient after you go back with Uncle Kyle, and I will come to see you in a while." Shirona nodded with a red face. Kyle was still beside her, and she didn't dare to say anything more, worried about hurting Kyle's fragile little heart. However, she didn't dare to say more, which didn't mean Zoom Yu didn't dare. Chiao came to support her, and the men of our East Land couldn't be so honest and obedient. Zoom Yu said that he not only dared to say more, but also dared to do more. Kissing Shirona's little face, Zoom Yu laughed and said, "Go back and wash it and wait for me to marry you." Kyle, who was standing aside, was hurt by Zoom Yu again in person, and the billion-point critical hit directly hit the vital point. Kissing his daughter in front of a daughter-slave. Only Zoom Yu, a monster, can do such a thing. But Kyle couldn't do anything to Zoom Yu. Zhao Yuanyang was right in front of him. If he dared to bully the younger generation by relying on his strength, Zhao Yuanyang would not mind bullying Kyle, the younger generation. Chapter 124, Ordinary Gym Battle. Since her father had come in person, Zoom Yu could no longer stop her, and reluctantly watched Shirona leave. Zoom Yu once again felt the importance of strength. Perhaps, according to his original idea, strength is enough. How strong a wild Pokémon can you encounter when traveling in the wild? To protect the one you like, isn't a king-level Greninja enough? Now, reality tells Zoom Yu again and again that it is not enough. Whether it is the previous journey to the secret realm or now facing Kyle, the daughter slave, Zoom Yu sincerely feels the unwillingness brought by insufficient strength. This feeling is very bitter. Why should I, a traverser, have to endure the birds of you natives? Give me some more time, and you will all crawl. Zoom Yu thought indignantly in his heart, and when he saw Zhao Yuanyang looking at him, he turned around quickly. "Thank you, Chief, for speaking up and helping me." With a hint of Jianghu atmosphere, Zoom Yu bowed his hands and thanked him. No matter what the relationship between the Zhao Yuanyang and him is, thank him first. Seeing Zoom Yu behaved properly, Zhao Yuanyang's eyes flashed with a trace of melancholy, but it was only a flash and no one noticed. "It's okay, Kyle doesn't know the rules, and he always comes to visit the East without notifying me. As the host, I must talk to him." Then Zhao Yuanyang asked again, "Are you going to have a gym battle?" Zoom Yu nodded and replied, "Yes, I am going to have a gym battle with Master Li." Li Kanai, who was standing aside, saw his role and quickly stepped forward, meeting Chief. Zhao Yuanyang looked at him and nodded slowly. "Not bad, then you can continue." As he said that, he jumped onto the body of the giant gold monster. Looking at his action, it didn't match his white hair at all. It was very inconsistent. "By the way, Master Li, the damage to this gym, you can contact the people in Western Europe later and ask them to reimburse you." After leaving this sentence, Zhao Yuanyang didn't say to stay and watch the battle, and left directly. Li Kanai looked bitter when he heard this. "Why don't you just tell me to fix it myself? Why go to Western Europe to get someone to reimburse me? The round-trip expenses are enough to cover half of the money for repairing the roof." Although he was complaining in his heart, Li Kanai could only force a smile on the surface. "Okay, thank you for your concern, Chief." After sending Zhao Yuanyang away, Li Kanai didn't care about anything else and hurriedly pulled Zoom Yu and said, "Come on, let's start the battle." "That's right, fight quickly, so that we can send this little devil away after the fight. I can't stand it. This little ancestor is really, as the rumors say, trouble follows him wherever he goes." Seeing that Li Kanai was so anxious, Zoom Yu thought he had something to do, and said politely, "It's okay. If Master Li has something to do, you can go first, I'll wait here." Oh my god, it would have been better if Zoom Yu didn't say it. When he said this, Li Kanai almost cried directly. No, I'm not busy at all. Let's just start the game. As he said that, Lee Kanai called his disciples to act as the referee. Then he released his own Pokémon, Tortoise. Zumu was a little confused when he saw this, but since you said to fight, then let's fight. After the fight, we'll go to the next gym. After releasing Charizard, Zumu smiled calmly. Come on, roar. Zumu, have you bought the insurance for me? Charizard's appearance is always different. He never shouts slogans or swears. Zumu held his forehead speechlessly and cursed Dragonite for being a bastard. A few days ago, when Dragonite was playing with his mobile phone, studying with his mobile phone, he accidentally discovered the thing called insurance. Then, as a doctoral dragon, Dragonite taught himself economics and successfully understood the meaning and commercial value of insurance. After learning new knowledge, it is natural to show off. Dragonite was suffering from not having an object to show off, so he set his target on the big, greed, righteous, life, fearful, fear, and random, death, Charizard. So, there is the current scene. As soon as Charizard came out, he urged Zumu to buy him an insurance policy. In this way, even if he suffered a lifelong disability in the battle, with the money from the insurance, he could live a life without worries. It can be said that Dragonite's move was very smooth. Not only was he satisfied, but Charizard also learned it, and Zumu was also uncomfortable. Thinking of the Dragonite that stabbed him with a knife, Zumu regretted teaching this guy the skills to pick up girls. This kind of bastard deserves to be alone for the rest of his life. Thinking bitterly, Zumu suddenly realized that it seemed that Shirona had left, and Milotic had followed. In this case, it seems that he is not the only one who is uncomfortable. Dragonite, the old dragon licker, can't feel comfortable anymore. As the saying goes, silly children can always laugh, and it may be people like Zumu. Originally, he was full of sorrow, but in less than a minute, he laughed. Seeing Zumu's weird smile, the cautious Charizard quickly shut up and dared not ask Zumu about insurance again. He was afraid that Zumu, the shit shoveler, was planning something bad to do to him. Dragons have a motto: it is better to offend a gentleman than a villain, and it is better to offend a villain than Zumu. Charizard decided to remember this sentence and leave it to his children as a family heirloom. Charizard, Mega Evolution, Spray Flames. The opening routine: evolve first, then attack. A flash of white light passed, and Charizard turned into Charizard X. Its black body floated in the air, and a faint blue flame burned from its mouth. Lee Kanai looked at Charizard X with appreciation and said, "You, the elf, have been trained quite well." Zumu was speechless. "You say that?" Charizard, this guy, even has to ask Kuai Long and the others to test the poison for him when he eats. The food must be very good. He has never been sick. But if you want to defeat me with the attribute advantage, that's a bit naive, Lee Kanai said with a smug smile. Turtle, let's use Surf. The sudden surfing move was the trump card of Turtle and Lee Kanai. This move defeated countless trainers who wanted to use their attribute advantages to challenge the gym with fire-type Pokémon. However, Zumu just chuckled and didn't react at all. Surfing, you are too naive. Charizard looked at Turtle with contempt, and without saying a word, rushed towards Turtle with a smoke charge. Boom! After the collision of the ultimate moves, the big tree on Turtle's back ignited a faint blue flame, and the whole Pokémon fell to the ground, groaning in pain. On the other hand, Charizard was fine and was about to continue to finish off. Lee Kanai was immediately confused. What's going on? Your Charizard is not afraid of water? This is not scientific. Water overcomes fire, which is the most basic common sense in life. Why is your Charizard not afraid? Chapter 125, Charizard's Water Storage Property. Otherwise, Zumu is a cheater. In addition to the built-in cheat code, each of Zumu's own elves is also extremely talented. There is no need to say much about Greninja and Dragonite. One was trained by Zumu's cheap father, and the other is Dr. Dragonite, who can train himself. And Arceus and Lugia. These two guys are mythical beasts, right? Have you heard of mythical beasts with poor qualifications? No, that's right. Then Snorlax and Bulbasaur. These two little guys are the latest to join the team, but they are also the elves who joined the team after Zumu had a certain foundation. From the perspective of team management, their qualifications can only be better. This is also the case. Let's not talk about Snorlax. Everyone knows that he is originally a top-level player with top talents. Coupled with the cheating of the system, his talent is explosive. Tai-Kai Kirby, whoever uses it will be delicious. And Bulbasaur, this is a super second generation that is even second generation than Zoomu. Just based on the equipment in his seed, Zoomu feels that he will never make so much money in his life. And Charizard, seemingly mediocre, is actually extremely perverted. After training in the novice village for several years, with a naturally brave and cautious character, coupled with the catalysis of the system, Charizard is no longer a Charizard. Now he is called Dash-Hui, Hang, then Charizard. I heard that there's a Squirtle in the next village with the same character, and he is also an excellent wave guide. Charizard sneered. Since the Fire Dragon God bloodline gradually awakened, other abilities such as the Red Lotus Karma Fire were gradually absorbed by the Fire Dragon God bloodline. Charizard has developed a new attribute specifically for fighting certain water-based elves. Water storage. Gyarados can be used as a lightning rod. So can't I, Charizard, store water? Charizard, who has been afraid of water since childhood, pays great attention to his weaknesses. The natural water storage characteristics were successfully stimulated by him. However, Lee Kanai was obviously not aware of these things. At this time, he was still wondering why surfing was ineffective against Charizard. Obviously, his own tortoise has been practicing surfing since childhood, and his attainments in surfing are even higher than the skills of this system. But why was he knocked back by Charizard's smoke charge? Moreover, this Charizard looked intact and even flew down to prepare for the last hit, which was unreasonable. In fact, this can't be blamed on Lee Kanai's lack of knowledge. Anyone who has fought against Zoomu should know this truth. That is, Zoomu equals monster, Dragon Star Group. Seeing that Charizard X used Dragon Star Group as the last hit skill, Lee Kanai was stunned. You use such a powerful skill to last hit? You don't know what health control is, do you? You don't know what physical strength distribution is, do you? Seeing Lee Kanai's surprised face, Zoomu curled his lips speechlessly. Haha, at such an old age, he still makes a fuss when he sees something. No wonder he is just a gym trainer and has no great prospects. Isn't it just Dragon Star Group last hit? This time Charizard was in a good mood. If he was in a bad mood, he would use a Flame Dragon. Tut tut tut. When Totoro was taken back by Lee Kanai, his whole body was pitch black. The air was filled with a strong smell of burning. Lee Kanai gritted his teeth and released his second Pokémon, Cunning Tenu. I leave it to you. Zoomu took back Charizard. His principle was very simple, that is, one Pokémon in one game. No one should fight or snatch it. Lee Kanai was so old, but he still took out the main Pokémon, so his combat power was definitely not weak. In addition, in the Rookie League a few days ago, Snorlax and the others all played, so Zoomu decided to let Greninja and Dragonite complete the next two battles this time. Evil type, that's you, Greninja. This time Greninja did not help Zoomu decide who to play, mainly because he was too busy with training yesterday and forgot about it for a while. But seeing that Zoomu was the first to send Charizard, Greninja was very satisfied. That's right, the same idea as mine. Cool, I am Greninja, I wish. The familiar slogan came again. Zoomu turned his head and pretended that he could not hear Greninja's extremely second-year slogan. After shouting the slogan, Greninja looked at his opponent and stretched out a claw. Cool, you look very powerful. I hope it's not just in appearance. Shouting slogans and trash-talking. Is this the standard before a ninja fight? Zoomu was no longer able to complain. Greninja was not inferior to others in other aspects except for his imagination. In terms of being unique, Greninja is definitely the leader. He said he was second, and no one dared to say he was first. Cha, you are arrogant. Cunning Tengu is a dark and grass-type Pokémon, and he is not a good-tempered guy. Seeing Greninja's provocation, he immediately got angry. Cool. If you are not arrogant when you are young, you will wet the bed when you are old. You should pay attention, old guy, and be careful when you sleep at night. Besides, we are young people. If we don't do many things, who will? If we don't do it, who will? The little words of Greninja are very complicated. Obviously,
The ninjutsu he learned should include the magical skill of mouth-to-mouth. Cunning Tengu couldn't say anything, so he simply glared at Greninja and waited for Li Kanai's instructions. Li Kanai also saw that Cunning Tengu seemed to have suffered a loss in the trash talk at the beginning, and hurriedly said, "Cunning Tengu, let's use Shadow Ball." With a tentative attack, Li Kanai wanted to see the speed and strength of Greninja. However, Greninja didn't even need Zumu's instructions, and directly used the Shadow Clone technique on the spot. Dozens of Greninja surrounded the Cunning Tengu from all directions, and then did not attack. Instead, lonely, when a frog says you are lonely in your ear, you may not react. But when a group of frogs call in your ear, you may want to kill someone. Now Cunning Tengu is in this state. He is going crazy because of Greninja. Cha, go to hell. With a roar, Cunning Tengu directly attacked all Greninja with a chlorophyte storm. However, Greninja just jumped and escaped from Cunning Tengu's attack range. When the smoke dissipated, Greninja was watching the exasperated Cunning Tengu not far away. With a leisurely face, he didn't forget to turn around and interact with the trainer Zumu. "Cool, little master, did you see that? He is anxious, he is anxious." Zumu slapped his forehead. As a trainer, he wanted to beat this frog who deserved a beating. "This is too mean. Whose frog is this?" End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.